James from Lisbon. It's amazing to have you here. Thank you for joining. Victor from England. Thank you for joining. Muhammad from UAE. UAE. Thank you for joining, Mohammed. Bernard from Ontario. Okay. We have a lot of Ontario people here. Cool, cool. Benjamin from Lagos, thank you for joining. Chukwemeka from South Africa. I'd like to know where in South Africa, though. So Lagos from South Africa. Thank you for joining. Lydia from Ghana. Thank you for joining, Lydia. So it's amazing to have you guys here. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay. So before we whilst people are still joining us, I'm just going to share my screen and share a little with you about who we are and what we do at Analytics. Okay. Right. Now, if you've heard about Analytics before, I want you to give me a 1. If you've never heard about Analytics, I want you to give me a 0. Let's know the newcomers here. If you've heard about Analytics before, give me a 1. If you've never, this is the first time you'll be joining us, I want you to give me a 0 in the chat. Okay. Let's keep it going. Okay, I have 1 from iPhone, 1. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. If you've heard about Analytics before, I want you to give me a 1. If you've never heard about Analytics, I want you to give me a 0. It's a lot of 1. Okay, that's cool. Nevertheless, I'm still going to be introducing who we are and what we do at Analytics, right? So about Analytics. Analytics is an edtech, educational technology company that is all about helping people in general, people of the Black community, learn premium tech skills. Okay, so when you hear learn tech, Analytics, learn tech, it rhymes in a way, right? So we are all about lowering the entry barrier into tech and ensuring that people of the Black community are able to, I'm looking for that English, infuse into tech in a very simplified manner. Okay, so our service offerings are aimed at building capacity and understanding across different tech fields. We've expanded so much that we're not just doing the regular tech skills, but we've built capacity in different areas and are helping people of the Black community understand and learn different tech skills such as data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, financial analytics, we have HR analytics, we have cybersecurity, we have Scrum, and we have AI engineering, amongst other amazing tech careers. Okay, and our facilitators are top notch. I don't know if you got in here early. If you were part of the people that got in here early, you would have heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, they have amazing facilitators. They have amazing facilitators." So when we are saying that our facilitators are top professionals, we're not capping at all, right? We come with the energy. We come with the best of the best. We bring you the best of the harvest. Okay. So our facilitators are top professionals from diverse backgrounds and reputable organizations such as Apple. We've got people from Microsoft, from McKinsey and Company. We've got from Amazon. We've got from PwC, Deloitte, Sahara Group, Google, Coca-Cola, P&G, and so on and so forth. And our courses, the courses that we offer, per each program, are structured in a way that you don't even have to know anything tech. You just come in and we ensure that you get optimal value. All right. If you joined in earlier, you'd have heard somebody saying, "Oh, I was thinking this, can I do it? I don't know it." And in less than 3 months of starting the program, the person was able to get a job, land a job. Okay. So when we say that you don't have to know anything, you don't have to, whatever, before you get started in tech, we actually mean is because what we do is hold your hands like a baby. We literally teach you how to walk, how to talk, how to walk the talk of tech. All right. So our courses are structured in a way that makes it practical, very practical, real world case study, and ensures that you get optimal value. Okay, so to learn more about Analytics, you can check us out on YouTube at Analytics, on Instagram as Analytics, on Twitter as Analytics as well. And you can check out our website, analytics.io. Okay, moving on. Moving forward. Meet the founders, okay, the people that have been given the mantle of helping people transition into tech. Listen, it's not everybody that has that it's not everybody. Actually, I'm going to be very honest. We have a lot of people that are saying, I can help you get into tech, but it's not everybody. It's this thing is something like a talent. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I hope you get what I mean. So meet the founders. Number one here we have Adeza Suleiman. Is the founder of Analytics. You know, I said it was listing all the things that you can gain from joining Analytics. So he's a data analytics expert and he has worked as a data science consultant across the UK, across US, across Africa, across UAE, and so on and so forth. So he used to be a data analyst, working in the business performance department with Sarah Group. Okay, and he was also a data analytics consultant with FITP. He's just been humble, but he has close to a decade, more than a decade experience when it comes to data analytics and management, consulting. He has worked in different sectors such as sport, professional services, EdTech, you name it, automobile, energy, oil and gas. It's a lot, I'm not going to lie. Then he has also personally trained over 8,500 participants across the globe. That is Adeza Suleiman. All right, you can connect with Adeza on LinkedIn, Adeza Suleiman, on Twitter as well as Adeza Suleiman, and on Instagram as Adeza Suleiman. So if you're here and there's this thing about the kinds of person that you work with are the kinds of person that influence you, So I would advise that you work with people that actually know road. So I'm going to be ringing up somebody that actually knows road to show us the road this evening in person of Adeza Suleiman. Hello, Adeza.
Hi, Damilola. Thank you for that very passionate introduction. It was really interesting. Thank you very much. And good evening, everybody. Good to have you join us this evening, this beautiful evening on a Saturday. And just like Damilola mentioned, for us at Analytics, the aim and the focus is to bring in as many Africans, people of the Black community, into the tech ecosystem. All right, I can see a couple of you that joined us yesterday. I can see Rebecca. Rebecca, good to see you on the call again. I think I saw somebody else. I'm not sure if he's still here. Okay. So thank you very much for joining. We're going to have an amazing time today. All right. Also, we'll keep it very practical. And I'll be introducing you into an AI tool called Claude AI. Okay. It's a large language model, just like ChatGPT. A lot of us are used to ChatGPT, Bard. Those are the popular ones, Gemini, and so on. All right. But I'll be showing you Claude. And the reason why I'll be showing you Claude is simply because when it comes to analytics, Claude is also very good. Okay, so you can use it to extract insights. You can use it to come up with questions that you'd ask the data. And like I told some people yesterday, the more you question the data or the more you torture the data, the more the data would confess. Okay, so today we'll do a little bit of practical analysis using the data set, different from what we did yesterday. So there is a travel agency that has offered services to numerous customers across the globe. They have been having challenges. They've had challenges over the years. And now they want to do what? Optimize their sales. Okay, how do we meet our customers at their point of needs? How do we understand our customer behavior and preferences, and so on and so forth? Okay, so that's the case study we're going to look at, and I'll share my slide to drive the conversation. I'd love you to, keep the session interactive, ask questions if you have questions as usual, and I'll be very, very happy to take your questions. All right. So what are we going to do today? So first of all, we're going to look at a practical case study, like I mentioned. Once we are done with the case study, I'll show you the skills you need to become a data analyst. And this is where a lot of people go learn funny stuff. They learn the things that are not necessary. I did it too while I was transitioning. I started my career as a management consultant. My first degree was in industrial chemistry, so nothing related to tech. Okay, so when I was trying to transition, I learned everything I could lay my hands on. Unfortunately, it meant that I spent 2 years transitioning, and I learned so many irrelevancies. Some of the tools I learned while trying to transition, I've never had to use it for one day, working as a data analyst for close to a decade. So you want to focus on those relevant skills, all right, and not focusing on everything, because you waste time. Others would have moved on and would have gotten jobs while you are still trying to study to get that role. I'll show you what it takes to land a data analyst role across the globe. And I'll also share some success stories with you, okay? And talk about the upcoming program we have starting on the 3rd of February, 2024. So let's dive in. Why choose a career in data analytics? That's the first question. There's a lot of buzz about data analytics. You'd hear lots of people saying, look, I want to transition into data analytics. But why choose a career? Okay, there's a reason. I've worked as a data analyst for about a decade, and I'll tell you for a fact that it's the best decision I ever took as a human being. Okay, getting into tech, and not just into tech, but into tech as a data analyst. And I'll share some of my story as we move on today. But one of the major reasons why you want to get into data analytics is the growth and the demand that you have today is growing at an unprecedented rate. And you would assume, or you would imagine that, and I've heard people ask the question, is data analytics saturated? Because a lot of people are talking about data analytics. And because you have a whole lot of volume, people assume that it is saturated, but that's not the case, because looking at the quantum of data we generate on a day-to-day basis, you really don't have enough resources to manage that data, structure the data, analyze the data, and extract insights. And that's why you'd see organizations recruiting day in, day out to get in more data analysts, getting more tech talents into their companies to help them shape their data strategy and their data journey. So there's never been a time, the best time to get into tech. This is the best time to get into tech as a data analyst. All right. And I'll share some trends with you as we move on. One of the things I like to share, I shared it yesterday, I've shared it last week, last month, 2 months ago. If you want to transition, ensure that the career path you are transitioning into has a future. So you're not transitioning into something that will be cut short along the line. You want to have a career in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, because you are moving into a field that will grow in demand. Okay. And I'll share 2 key career paths today based on the report of the World Economic Forum. All right. We've used this, and the report has been out, as always comes out every single year since 2016. So from 2016 till date, the World Economic Forum shapes the direction and the future of work. And why is that so? The World Economic Forum is simply a group of billionaires, politicians, global shapers of economies. They come together, all right, and they decide these are the things that we need to, do going forward, and that shapes where the world would be headed in the next few years. Okay, so they have these reports they come up with, and at the left-hand side, of course, I've kept the link. You can always access the link, and for anybody who wants to transition, you're in the UK, for example, the amount of opportunities in the UK for data analysts is unprecedented. Numerous amount of opportunities available. However, people focus on the wrong career path. Okay, they follow the herd mentality. Where everybody else is going, that's where they want to go. But for people who have made the switch and made the transition, it's very easy for you to land a job as a data analyst, one of the easiest roles that you can easily transition into tech. And the World Economic Forum's reports at the left-hand side simply talks about the growing demand. And this cuts across all regions, not just the UK, the US as well, and even Canada. And I'll share a bit of success stories from participants across the globe, from the UK, from Nigeria, from Canada, from the US, who joined our program, completed the program, and they were able to land jobs. All right, too many of them, but I'll share some very compelling ones with you. Okay, so and at the right-hand side, you have the declining jobs. So if you want to get a job, you don't want to look for a job at this right-hand side, okay? Because these are the jobs that will decline, which means in the next few years, you'd have a reduction in the demand for these roles. If you find yourself in having any of these roles or transitioning into any of these roles, then you want to give your career plan a second thought. You want to look at it, go back to the drawing board and try to make some adjustments. One of the few career paths that shocked me when I saw it is the product manager. Okay, this is a popular role today, but looking into the next 4 to 5 years, this particular job role will decline in demand. That's the progression. That's the projection, rather. And the World Economic Forum has been very accurate with predicting the trend of jobs. Okay, now let's look at the growing jobs. Which jobs would grow over the years? And I'll highlight two, like I mentioned. The first one is the business intelligence analyst, and the second is the data analyst and data scientist. Okay, but today is all about the data analyst. All right, so you can see the business intelligence analyst, you can see the data analyst. The BI analyst, who is the business intelligence analyst, is simply a data analyst, but with a focus. All right, the BI analyst is a data analyst with a focus. And the focus of the BI analyst is simply to work with a data warehouse, to work with SQL, structured query language, and to work with a business intelligence tool like Tableau or Power BI. So you don't need to bother yourself learning every single thing that a data analyst would learn. As long as you understand the concepts, the fundamentals of data warehousing, you understand SQL, you can interact with databases. And of course, if you understand data warehousing, SQL becomes second nature, because SQL is a language, SQL, that you use to interact with databases and data warehouses. All right, and then you need a BI tool that would help you visualize the entire analysis you'd be doing. And I always give the example of a business intelligence analyst, simply using this simple analogy. All right. Now, when you create, let's imagine that you sell bags and you store your bags somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to scribble a little so that it makes it a little bit easier. All right. So imagine you sell bags and you store your bags in a warehouse somewhere here. Let's call this the warehouse. And you have your shop or the showroom somewhere here. Okay. Now, for you to get the bags from the warehouse, you need to walk down. You walk down to the warehouse, you pick up the bags, and then you bring it to the shop so you can give it to the customer. So it's a manual process of you going into the data, going into the warehouse to get the bags. You take it back to the shop to give it to the customer. All right. The business intelligence analyst automates the process. So instead of going to the warehouse to pick up bags, the BI analyst would create, let's call it a, let's call it, what do we call this now? I've forgotten the name. This thing that takes the bags. When you land at the airport, it brings out your bags and it rotates until you pick the bag. What's it called again? Somebody should remind me. The name just skipped me. If you remember, just type it into the chat, not the carriage. It's not called conveyor belt. Thank you very much, Bamidele. Conveyor belts. Fantastic. So the BI analyst creates something like a conveyor belt. Okay, something like a conveyor belt. Now, this conveyor belt simply gets the bags from the warehouse, just like the way it gets your bags, and it brings it to you, and you pick up the bag and you go. So rather than moving or walking down to the warehouse, the BI analyst would create that conveyor belt. Okay, and that's one of the major roles of the BI analyst. Data is always going to be stored in this warehouse, data. So the BI analyst would figure out a way, rather than going into the data warehouse manually to extract data before analyzing, they create a pipeline that takes the data from the warehouse into the shop, which is the BI system, like a Power BI, for example, or a Tableau. So whatever report you have created is always updated automatically. And that's the major role of the BI analyst. So it's just a data analyst that understands data, data warehouse, understands SQL, and also understands business intelligence. Simple. So you don't focus on too many things. You focus on a few things: data warehouse, SQL, Power BI, or Tableau. That's the BI analyst. And between the BI analyst and the data analyst role, these are roles that would increase in demand according to the World Economic Forum, because of the amount of data we keep on generating on a day-to-day basis. Organizations want to use that data, extract insights to help them take very good decisions. All right. So what are some of the trends you'd find? In the UK, for example, the tech jobs reached the highest spots in terms of hiring. And looking at from May 2021 to November 2023. Now, for a lot of Africans that moved into the UK, the focus, I know the UK environment very well. I interacted with so many people, and so many of them focused on going for the care jobs. Okay, because the assumption is, oh, I can get a job. I don't need to have, a specific or a specialized type of skills. I can get the job, learn on the job, and I get to earn money. And at the end of the day, I could get a care, health and care visa. I get a sponsorship, and so on and so forth. However, the reality is between 2021 and November 2023, tech roles dominated. Tech roles dominated in the UK, followed by trade and construction, teaching before you even had the healthcare jobs. So while healthcare was very prominent because too many people were talking about them, tech jobs dominated. And even with the domination of the tech roles, 72% of organizations are still saying that there is a skill shortage. There's a shortage when it comes to skills and the people that can get these jobs done. And I'll give you a very good statistics that brings that home. In the UK every year, you have about 30,000 jobs within the data ecosystem to be filled. 30,000. And out of these 30,000, only 10,000 graduates, immigrants, so graduates, immigrants, and so on, have the skills to apply to these jobs. So out of 30,000, only 10,000 graduates from the universities, masters, and so on, PhDs, and immigrants coming from different countries can apply to the 30,000 data-related roles available on a year-on-year basis. So there is always a gap of 20,000 jobs left unfilled simply because people are not applying to those jobs because they don't have the skills to apply to those jobs. Okay, the moment you have the skill, it becomes easier for you to compete with the best of the best within the industry and land a job at the end of the day. And that's what our participants have been doing. Data analytics is one of the most fantastic career paths that you can get a job easily. Now, and this is according to the Tech Nation, Okay, the technician and Robert Half. So the technician is simply one of the endorsement bodies that endorses tech talents or people within the digital economy in the UK. So you want to come to the UK as a tech talent, the technician would need to give you an endorsement. So they provided this particular analysis. Now, also looking at Canada, something very interesting as well. Last year, 2023, you had about 32,000 tech jobs available gotten by immigrants. So immigrants from different regions got 32,000 tech jobs within the tech ecosystem. Now, out of the 32,000 jobs, India went away with 15,000, almost 50%. And guess what? The only African country that was on that list that also got, part of the 32,000 jobs is Nigeria. And Nigeria came second with an abysmal 1,808, just 5%. And you know the reason why? Our Nigerian brothers and sisters, rather than focusing on learning, key skills, tech skills, they go for the other jobs that they really don't want to do, but it's easier because it's either it's physical, you get to do things with your hands, and you really can't see a career progression when you get jobs like that. Okay, so out of 32,000 jobs, India came first with 15,000. They took 15,000 away. And Nigeria came second, the only African country on the list. And they had just 1,808, just 5% of the total jobs. All right, and this is not where we want to be. The next trend I want to show you very quickly, and this is according to the Economic Times, and the last trend is in the US. So looking at the progression or the projection of jobs within the tech ecosystem in 2024, according to McKinsey, the data scientist role and the data analyst roles would grow the most within the tech ecosystem at the rate of 5.5%, followed by cybersecurity and data engineers with 5.2%. So if you get into a data science role or a data analytics role and you're in the US, you can rest assured that you'll get a job. Okay, and also looking at the tech ecosystem, there's no sign of slowing down. Okay, so when you see the big techs, you'd see that, oh, Google laid off 1,000 employees. There's a report that I read. For every employee the big tech companies retrench or they fire, it takes them roughly 2 to 3 weeks to land another job that would pay them similar to what Google or whatever company was paying them. 2 to 3 weeks. At least I think if I remember my statistic correctly, about 70% get another job within 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so there's no sign of slowing down with regards to hiring in the tech ecosystem in the US. In the UK, there is a demand. In Canada, there's a skill shortage as well. And companies are even willing to increase salary expectations. And I'll share a story of one of our participants who today, within the space of a year, moved from earning in Naira to earning in 6 figures in Canada. 6 figures as a data analyst. Okay, I'm going to show you that person and you'll get to hear from him yourself because he also did a video where he spoke about how he's been able to transition and so on and so forth. And this is according to McKinsey. Okay, so again, we're going to work on a practical case study. So you get to see some things that you would do as a data analyst and would keep it very simple. Would leverage an AI tool called Claude AI and then would use Excel to do the analysis. But Claude AI would help us. And this is where the future is going. All right. Nobody really wants to crack their heads so much when you have tools that can make the work easy or make the work easier for you. All right. So you have large models, generative AI tools, and we're going to leverage one of them today. The popular ones are ChatGPT. We've had so many master classes, but today we're going to look at Claude AI. Okay. Now, the background of the case studies for a company, like I mentioned, an aviation agency, Benny's travel agency. And what do they want to do? So there's been a lot of issues, major disruptions within the aviation and the travel industry. Okay. Now, it's important for companies within the space to understand their customers' preference. And this goes to any company that exists to make a profit, to give their customers value. You want to know the preference of your customers so that you can tailor your offerings to meet the customer's needs. For example, you run a travel agency and you create packages for travels to, let's say, Dubai, travels to the Maldives. How do you tell that your customers want to go to those regions? Okay, so it becomes a challenge, but the good thing is you can find out from your customers. And a survey was done. The survey was done to get data from customers, asking them questions to find out where they want to travel to. And this is real life. The data was generated from real human beings. I created a survey instrument, sent out the survey link, people filled the form and submitted it. And that's what we're going to use for our analysis today. All right, so we're going to analyze the data. Over 300 people responded, telling us where they would like to travel to. I'll show you the data set and we'll see what it looks like before we start our analysis. So having this data with us, we can answer key questions as data analysts. We can leverage this data to help take key decisions, how to tailor our offerings to meet our customers' request, and to also understand their preference and what they would like to do. So if I create products and services that meet your need, you're going to buy my product or you'd patronize my services. Okay, so this is our case study for today. Now let's dive in to the data set. So I have the data and I have the link also available. It's on the slide. The slide will be made available to everybody. Okay, I'll show you what the data looks like. We're going to dive in and then we'll look into what. There's somebody sending me a very long message in the chat, a direct message from Mohammed. Mohammed, what I'm going to do is, okay, well, you want to talk to me personally, that's fine. It's easier for us to meet in the clarity sessions on a Tuesday. So what I'll do, Mohammed, is I'll send you my email, send me an email, and let's get to discuss, okay? Just send me an email and let's get to discuss. Now, it's also important for you to fill the form that you see sent into the chats by my colleagues. Once you fill the form, it's easier for you to receive the recordings, receive the slides, and all the other materials, okay? So I'm going to click on this link that says, click here to download. And once I do this, it takes me into where the data is. So let's see what the data looks like. We're going to download the data sets and then we can analyze the data. Can we have the link? Absolutely, you can, Bamidele. So I'll share the link with you. Just give me a second. I'll share the link with you and you can have access to the link and get the data set. So we can work together while we try to answer the key questions we'll be looking at. Okay, so I'll drop that into the chat, Bamidele. And you can click on that to have access to the data sets. Okay. Fill out the form, the attendance form when you receive it so that you receive all the materials, the slides, the data sets, and all of that at the end of our session today. Okay, so let's see what the data looks like. So the data looks like this. All right, from about 300 plus people, they fill the form. We ask them key questions. Okay, tell us your gender. Are you male or female? Your destination, which means where would you like to travel to? What's your preferred destination? When would you like to travel? Time of travel. January equals 1, December equals 12. Okay, so if you indicate 6, it means you'd like to travel in June. Type of activity. Would you like group activities, individual activities? How would you like to, travel? Are you traveling with people? Are you traveling alone? Are you traveling with family? And so on and so forth. And what's your preferred mode of transportation? Would you be hiring a car? Would you be using the public transport? And so on and so forth, okay? So this is what the data looks like. So you need to download the data set. And all you have to do is click on File. I'll take that again. Click on File. Once you click on File, you'd see Save As. Click on Save As, and then download a copy. That's all you need. Click on File, Save As, and download a copy. Click on File, click on Save As, and click on Download. And that gives... Okay, let me be sure we are good. Khadijat, are we good? Can we go on? Okay, let's continue with the session. I think the session is still recorded. All right. Now, what I need you to do, downloaded the data set, right? And we've seen what the data looks like. And let's go back and bring up Claude AI. And Claude AI will do a lot of things for us. Now, one of the major things you want to do, no, you can't record it, Muiwa, okay? The recording will be done by us, and we'll send out the recording at the end of today's session, okay? Now, one of the major things you want to do as an analyst is come up with questions that you would ask the data. Remember, the data in this form is totally useless until you can analyze the data set. So you want to come up with questions you can ask the data. Remember, torture the data and the data would confess. Okay, so we want to leverage Claude AI to help us come up with key questions. All right, and we'll see how we can get that done. So let's bring up Claude AI. And like I mentioned, Claude AI is simply just a generative AI tool similar to ChatGPT. I'm just going to go to my browser, type in Claude AI. I'm just going to type it in. So let's see what happens. Claude AI, Claude, C-L-A-U-D-E, AI. Okay, so Claude AI, click on this, open in a new tab, and then you'd see Claude. So I have an account, but I'll set up a new account so that you also see how the account is set up, and you can do this yourself. I would enter my email. All right, enter your email, continue, and it would ask you for yeah, so a login code will be sent to you. They just sent in my own login code, and I'm going to type that into the chat. All right, so that's my login code. So once you enter your email, you receive a temporary login code. I would enter my full name, Adeza Suleiman. What should we call you, Adeza? Are you older than 18? Yes. Do you agree to our terms? It's important for you to read this. I've read it, even though I know a lot of, most of us don't read the terms and conditions, okay? So you select this, click on continue. Okay, you verify your mobile phone. Okay, so you enter your mobile number, verify with an SMS. So I'm just simply going to enter my own mobile number. Okay, so you also enter yours, and I'll share when I'm done. Okay, I'll share when I am done. So if you are doing the same thing with me, or you want to do this later, ensure that you enter your phone number, and then you confirm using SMS. Oh, they're telling me I have an account already with this particular phone number. Okay, let me see what I can do. I have an account with this phone number already, so they're not allowing me to log in. All right, I didn't know I was going to come across this particular challenge, but just give me a second. I'm going to address this very quickly. Okay, I'll address this very quickly. I'll use a different phone number, and we get it going. Just give me 1 second, all right? So let's use a different phone number, okay? And so just give me 1 second, trying to get a different phone number that we can use. Okay, unfortunately, Canada is not one of the options too. Okay, so I was going to use my other number, but you don't have Canada as one of the options. So let's use an account that already exists so that we don't waste time. Okay, we're going to use an account that already exists so that we don't take too much time. So let's try this account. I have an account with this particular email. So I'm just going to go to Claude AI. So, but when you are setting up your account, remember that you're going to put in your phone number, you'd receive a code, and then you enter the code. But because I've set up an account already and I've used my number, and you don't also have Canada as one of the lists, I've used my other number as well. So I can't seem to get this done. So I would have loved to show you the step-by-step, but it's a pretty straightforward process that you can get done on your own. So I'll click on Claude AI, and because I have an account, it logs me in automatically. Okay. All right. So shall I say I now have access? Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, fantastic. Now, one of the beauties of Claude AI is you can summarize, you can upload documents. You can do this with ChatGPT, but the difference is with ChatGPT, you need a paid account, a pro account, where you pay about $24 per month. See this to attach a document. All right. So what I would show you first of all is would look at uploading a case study document and telling Claude to summarize the case study for us. And you can see these examples. Summarize this PDF, help me practice my Spanish vocab, explain how this Python game works. All right, so these are things you can do. So I'll simply, let me show you a document we'll be looking at. It's called the Education for All case study. Education for All. So this is a document that has a case study where you need to solve this case study using SQL. And you can see what the document looks like. You have questions, you have different things, you have a task, and so on and so forth, okay? So now you have to read this document to understand everything. But imagine somebody summarizing this for you. Rather than you reading it from the beginning, have someone summarize it for you and give you the key points. And that's what Claude is going to do for us. So I'll simply come here. Okay, I'll click on this attach and let us attach the document. Okay, I'll go to my downloads and then I can attach the Education for All case study. So I click on that and I click on open. Okay, so this will upload the document for me and you can see that in there. And I'll simply just type and say, highlight, summarize. So let's tell Claude to what? Summarize and highlights the key points from this case study. Okay, summarize and highlights the key points from this case study. And then I'm going to send this. Okay, and the moment I send it, what happens? We wait for Claude to respond. And Claude would simply do what? It would review the document and give us the key points, what you need to do, what you need to focus on, and so on and so forth, okay? So here are the key points from the Education for All fundraising case study. The goal is to increase donations by presenting data insights at an upcoming strategy meeting, specifically to increase the number of donors, increase donation frequency, and increase donation value. Two data sets are provided, this and that, okay? Recommended SQL queries to generate insights. You need to use the joins. You need to use the order by, the where, the between, and so on. All right. And what are the key tasks you need to carry out? Calculate the total breakdown of donations by gender, job frequency, find the top states by donation amount, find top cars, and so on. So you can see that it's simply did what? It went to that document, summarized the entire document, and gave you the key points. So imagine you find yourself in a competition. You find yourself in a situation whereby you need to quickly summarize something and provide insights. Claude AI would do this in a fantastic way for you. All right. And this is one of the ways you can leverage Claude AI. And ChatGPT can do the same and perhaps even give you a better outcome. The major difference is Claude would do it for you for free, and ChatGPT would have to make payments to get this done. Okay, so this is the very first thing we're going to do today, using Claude to summarize our data. And you can see the key points rather than focusing on so many other things. You focus on just the key points, attack those key points, and get the problem solved. But that's not the analysis we want to do. The analysis is for us to look at these data sets, the travel data sets, we look at that, and we leverage this in coming up with insights using Claude AI. All right, because I'm still using the free version, so there's some limitations, but I hope I'll be able to attach my documents. So let's see, add contents. Let's try this. If I still have the opportunity to attach. Okay, so I cannot see the data sets. And let me try something very quickly. Okay, so let me try to save this as a CSV file. If it comes up, if it doesn't, then that's one of the limitations, because I have used it's a free version. So you have the number of times you can upload and so on. So you also want to be careful with that. But let me try this very quickly. And if not, I might just have to open that new account eventually to show you what I really want to show you today. Okay, and that's the power, the beauty of Claude. Claude allows you upload documents. And I would love to answer questions. I know there are some key questions that would come up that you'd like to ask. I'll be very happy to answer those questions as well. So let's try as a CSV file and see if it comes up. But if it doesn't, would have to set up a new account. All right. So Damilola, if you're on the call, I'm going to use your number to set up the account. Okay, so just be on standby. Let's try one more time and see, because I've used this so many times today. Perhaps that's the reason why. Yes. Okay, so it's up now. I can see it as a CSV file. Okay, so it's coming up as a CSV. So I'm going to upload that CSV file into Claude AI and tell Claude AI to come up with insights. What questions can I ask these data sets to get answers that would help me optimize the revenue for this particular company? Okay, so let's attach the document. I'll attach the document. Let's attach. So I'll attach the travel survey, open, click on open to attach the file. So you can see the file is attached, right? Now let's talk to Claude and say, generate 5 key insights from these data sets. Okay, so generate 5 key insights from these data sets that we can use. 5 key insights from these data sets that we can use to improve the offerings of this travel agency. Okay, so I'm asking a very simple question and I'm telling Claude, look at this data set I've given to you. Look at it and generate 5 key insights that we can use to improve the offerings of this particular travel agency. And I'm going to send this, and let's see what Claude would give to us, if it comes up with anything or not, and if it's something we can use. Let's wait for it to come up, okay? So here are 5 key insights I can generate from this travel survey data set. Okay, it's giving us more than 5. Okay, so it's giving us answers already. So it's done the analysis. And let's look at what it's giving to us. Here are 5 key insights I can generate from this travel data set. Number 1, Paris is the most popular destination, followed by the Maldives. So focus marketing and packages on these locations. All right. Majority of travelers are going in groups rather than solo. Offer more attractive group packages. Okay, the 12th month is the most popular travel time. Offer holiday season packages and discounts. So, but I want to test this. I'm not going to take Claude AI's analysis. I won't take it word for word. I won't take it the way it has come. I'll do my own analysis to validate and see if what I'm getting is correct. Okay. So I'll ask something else. I'll say generate questions that would enable me get these insights, okay, from the data sets. Generate questions. I forgot to add the S. Generate questions that would enable me get these insights from the data set. So we've seen the very first one. Okay, and it's even giving us the answer using SQL. We're not going to leverage the SQL. It's simply saying what is the most popular destination? Let's focus on the questions. What is the most popular destination? That's question number 1. Answering this question would help us find out if it is true that Paris is the most popular destination, followed by the Maldives. Okay, so what we are going to do is to validate if this is correct. Second question, what percentage of travelers are going in groups versus solo? We're also going to test, but let's test question number 1, and then we'll do question number 2, and then you'd see how within 5 minutes, you can take data and get key questions that would help you answer or torture the data to get insights from that data. So let's open up the document, okay? And let's do a little bit of analysis. So I'll open up the document, travel survey responses. Sorry, excuse me. Let's open this. Okay, so I'll open the Excel file, the one I downloaded. You know, when I downloaded, it was an Excel file, so I couldn't upload it on Claude. So I saved it as a CSV so that I could upload. So I'm opening up the Excel. Now, this is what the data looks like on Excel. We've all used Excel. Most of you have used Excel before. Some of you have never used Excel. All you need to do is open up the data by double-clicking the Excel file. It opens it up like this for you. We're going to use a tool in Excel called the pivot table. The pivot table is one of the most fantastic tools you'd ever use in Excel. Pivots. Okay, pivot. The pivot table. And what will the pivot table do for us? It would help us summarize this entire data set. So it will take the entire data set and summarize it for us so we can count out of the people that have selected destination as Maldives, Paris, Monaco, Berlin. Can we find out how many selected Paris, how many selected the Maldives, and so on and so forth? So that's what we want to do. Okay, so let's take this out, and I'm going to do that using my pivot table. So what do I do to insert my pivot table? Very straightforward. I'm just simply going to click on Insert on my Excel, the top left corner, click on Insert. And then at the left-hand side, you'd see the pivot table. So click on Insert, go to Pivot Table, click on the drop-down, and select from Table/Range. and I click on that. Okay, I can see questions. Okay, shall I say wondering why mine generated the exact 5 insights requested? And that's if you look at the data set, Shola, you'd see that you have very specific attributes: gender, destination, time of travel, type of activity. So if you want to find out how to optimize, you have just about 6 attributes to work with, or 6 columns. So you have a lot of similarity. Victor says brilliant. Absolutely, absolutely brilliant. Do you need to apply ETL on the data set before moving it? No, you don't, Favor. You don't need to do any ETL before moving into Claude AI. Nothing at all. Okay, can you send the data set link again? I hope they've sent it to you. Must the data be in PDF? No, the data should be in CSV, Shola. Okay, so I'm just looking at the questions in the chat so that I don't have anybody lagging behind. All right. So once you click on your pivot table, let me take it one more time. Click anywhere around your data set, anywhere, but just ensure you are around the data set. Go to Insert, go to Pivot Table, click on the drop down and select Table/range. You want to create your pivot table from a range. The data you can see in front of you on my screen is a range of values, okay? Range of values. So I'm going to click on from Table/range, okay? And then you'd see the new worksheet, meaning that I want to create my pivot table in a new sheet, in a fresh blank sheet. So I don't want my pivot table to be on the same sheet where I have my data set. And this is just being tidy and ensuring that your workings are easy to read and are tidy enough if anybody else is going to have to look at this. So make sure it's on a new worksheet. Click on OK, and it opens up a pivot table for you. So we are testing question number 1, which is, we go back to Claude AI. What's the question? What is the most popular destination in the data set? All right, that's the first question. Now, what the pivot table would do for you is you have all the columns from the data in your pivot table fields: timestamp, gender, destination, time of travel, type of activity, holiday with who, transportation. These are all the columns that you have in these data sets. If you look at this, timestamp, gender, let me bolden it so you can see better. Timestamp, gender, destination, time of travel, type of activity, holiday with who, and transportation. So the pivot table takes all of these columns and you find them in your pivot table field. So now we are simply going to answer our question by clicking and dragging. So what do I want to see? I want to see the destination. So I click and tick the box where I have destination. So show me the destination, and you can see that at the left-hand side. Let's maximize. You can see Berlin, Maldives, Monaco, Paris, Seychelles. Okay, so you can see all the destinations, the different cities that people have indicated that they would like to travel to. But we want to count out of the people that responded, how many of them would like to go to Berlin? How many would like to go to Monaco? How many would like to go to the Maldives? How do I count? Which of the columns do I need to count? Okay, I have gender, male or female. So a male responded and selected Berlin. Another female responded. If you go to the data set, you'd see you have female, 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 male, male, male. So all I need to do is count the gender. If I count the gender of the people that responded, I can tell how many people selected a particular region. All right. So I'll simply take my gender. I want to count the gender. And for me to count anything on a pivot table, I take that thing into the field called values, the values field. So I'm going to click on gender and click and drag it, pick it from where it is and drop it under values. So I'm going to click on gender, drag it, and drop it under where? Values, so that it counts it for me. Now, what happened? The moment I dropped gender under the values field, I have something that says count of gender. So it becomes easy for me to see how many people selected Berlin, 27, how many selected the Maldives, 95, Monaco, 38. Okay, remember, showing tables is not the best way to communicate. But if you create a pictorial diagram, you create a chart, a visual, it becomes easy to see, easy to read. Anybody who sees it understands what you're showing. They don't need to have any experience using Excel or any technical skill. So we simply go to insert, all right? And I want to insert I'll click on recommended chart. Okay, so I can select the chart that I want, but I'll just click on recommended. So let Excel recommend a chart for me. So click on recommended chart. It gave us the clustered column. I'll simply leave it at that without selecting any other thing and click on OK. So it gives me this column charts. Drag it to the right-hand side. Okay. So I have this. All right. Now, it goes down and up and down and up. It's not the best way for you to visualize. Remember, you're not creating this for yourself. You're creating it for somebody who is going to see, to take a decision. So make it easy for that person. Make it easy for the person. So rather than having down, up, down, let's sort our values in descending order from the highest or the largest to the smallest. So I go to my table at the left-hand side over here, and I right-click on any of these values. Right-click on it, go to sort, and do your what? Sort from the largest to the smallest. And when I do this, what happens is sorts it from the largest to the smallest. And I can see my chart also aligns. So it's no longer going down and up and down and up. It shows it in descending order. So it's easy to see and easy to understand. I want to see the numbers on top of the columns so that the moment I see Paris, I know the number on top. I don't have to go to this particular line over here and try to read where the line could be. Is it 170? Is it 175? I want to be sure of what I'm seeing. Okay, so to show the labels on top of the columns, right-click on any of the columns. Right-click on any of the columns, and then click on Add Data Labels. And when you do this, you'd see the labels appear on top of each column. And that's all what we need. Now, the next thing we're going to do is take out all the things that are not necessary on the chart. What is not necessary? And in data visualization, I taught the people who joined my session yesterday. In data visualization, this is a principle called less is more. So if you don't take anything away from today's session, take this. Less is more. And what does this principle mean? It simply means the lesser the elements you have on your chart, the more you would communicate the insights using that chart. So take out things that are not relevant, that you're not going to use, that does not add additional information to that chart. For example, I have 169 on top of this column. I don't need this axis anymore to tell me anything. It becomes redundant. So I click on the axis and I take it out by clicking the backspace key. So if you're typing and you want to, take out something that you typed in error, you press the backspace, right? The same way, click on that axis, hit the backspace, it takes it off. Now that I've taken that y-axis away, I don't need these grid lines anymore. The grid lines are redundant. So I click on the grid line, hit the backspace key again, and that takes out the grid lines. You see this thing that says count of gender, destination, also redundant. It's not doing anything on this visual. Remember the principle of what? Less is more. So I go to this button, right click on the button and hide all field buttons on chart. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to take out from this chart is the total. Total doesn't show me anything. It doesn't tell me anything in addition to what I've done already. It doesn't add more value. It doesn't add more information. It is just what? Redundant. Now, if I had different colors, I could have different legends to show me that, okay, blue is for Paris, yellow is for Maldives, but they're all the same color. So total over here becomes redundant. So I click on it as well, and I hit the backspace, take it off. And now I'll retitle my chart. So I'll come here and title this chart, and I'll call it what? Preferred travel destination. Okay, so let me ask a very quick question, and I'd love somebody to unmute themselves to speak. Looking at what we've created, first question, did Claude AI give us the correct answer? Secondly, tell me the top 2 preferred travel destination. If you want to speak, use the raised hand icon and I'll call you up to tell us what you think. I'd love to hear from somebody. So you can raise your hand and I'll ask you to speak. So let's hear from Mohammed Abiola. So Mohammed, please, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. The top 2 travel destination is Paris and Maldives.
Okay. And was Claude AI correct?
Like, I didn't get to use the Claude AI because I'm in Nigeria actually, and I can't sign up from Nigeria.
You
Nigerian
can.
number.
You can sign up from Nigeria.
I don't get to see Nigeria. I had to hide in it, like the number issue you are.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So you couldn't get Nigeria, but I actually signed up using one of my Nigerian phone numbers. So I think you can sign up using Claude AI. I didn't find Canada, interestingly. The UK is also there. They are not in all the countries at the moment. I think they're currently in 95 countries. No, what am I saying? In about 95 cities or thereabout. So they are still, growing, and I'm sure you'd have them in all the other cities eventually. So Paris and Maldives, 169 wants to travel to Paris, 95 wants to travel to the Maldives. Sometimes it's good to also put your analysis in very good context. So when you see 169, you really don't know the magnitude. Or when you see 95, you might not know the magnitude of the total number. So one way you can also see the magnitude is to do what? Convert it to percentage. So instead of having absolute values, so imagine somebody tells you that you scored 70 over 100. It sounds different from 70%. Okay, so now we've seen 169 out of 373. It really doesn't give us the magnitude. So what we want to do is right-click on this value, go to summarize, show values as percentage of grand total. Show values as what? Show values as percentage of grand total. So rather than giving me the absolute, convert it to a percentage. And let me see the percentage of the total. That's what I want to see. So percentage of grand total, I click on that. Okay, so now we can see the values in terms of what? Percentages. I don't want any decimal points. So I'm going to select all my values. Click on the Home tab. Okay, and where I have my decrease decimal, I can reduce the decimal places by clicking on this button. So I click on it the first time, click on it the second time, the decimals are gone. So now it is easier for me to see that 45% of the total respondents want to travel to Paris and 25% want to travel to where? The Maldives. So if you add that up, it means that you have 70% of your customers would go to Paris or the Maldives. 70%. So if you want to take a decision as a business owner, talking about the type of travel packages you'd set up in 2024, Are you going to set up travel packages for Berlin? Would that be where you would focus your resources on? Of course not. Your focus would be where? Between Paris and the Maldives, because that is where majority of your customers would like to travel to. And how did we gather the data from them? It's a survey. Deploy a survey, they fill the survey, and they told you, 2024, I would like to travel to Paris, I would like to travel to the Maldives. 45%, a whopping 45% would like to travel to Paris. And if we go back to what Claude AI gave to us, that's the exact same thing it gave us in terms of the analysis. Paris is the most popular destination, followed by the Maldives. So focus marketing and packages on these locations. All right, and that's the beauty of using a large language model like Claude AI, ChatGPT, Bard, Gemini, and so on and so forth. I'll answer one more question and then we'll move on to other things, how to transition, what are the skills you need to learn, and so on and so forth. Okay, thank you very much, Mohammed, for contributing and answering the question the other time. Okay, so let's take the second question, which is, what percentage of travelers are going in groups versus solo? What percentage of travelers are going in groups versus solo? So we also want to find out, are our travelers going in groups or are they traveling alone? All right, either group or individual. So let's go back to the data to answer that question very quickly, and then we'll move on to other things, okay? So let's go back to the data set. So I go back to my data set and looking at the type of activity or how they want to travel, we can tell. Type of activity will tell us if they want to have group activities or individual activities. Holiday with who will tell us if they want to travel alone, travel with family, or travel with friends. So we want to find out, do they want to travel in groups or they want to travel alone? Let's find out by using this holiday with who. Okay, so I go back, I need to create another pivot table to help me answer this question. So the same way I did the first one, click anywhere around your data set, go to Insert, okay, pivot table, table/range. All right, make sure it's on the new worksheet, click on OK. So we have our second pivot table. But this time around, what do I want to see? I want to see holiday with who. So I click on the tick box to select, and I can see travel alone, travel with family, travel with friends. I want to then count how many people want to travel alone, how many want to travel with family, how many want to travel with friends. The same way I did the other one. I'm going to take gender, count the gender, okay, the number of male, the number of female that selected this or that. So I'm going to click and drag my gender, and I'll drop it under where? Values. And this gives me the value. So I'm going to right click to sort in descending order from the highest to the lowest. So I right click, I go to sort, largest to smallest. So here I can see from my table that the majority, 158, would like to travel with family, followed by people that would like to travel alone as well. So you have a large chunk that would like to travel alone, and you have another chunk that would like to travel with family. So this gives you ideas on how to structure the package for singles, people that are traveling alone. Either they are most of them will be singles for them to travel alone, and also structure another package for people who would want to travel with family, because you have a significant number that have indicated that they would like to travel with family. So let's create a very quick chart from here. So I go to Insert, click on Insert, Recommended Charts. It gives me this type of chart again, but okay, let's just use it just so that we don't, because of time. And I click on OK. I have another column chart over here. All right. Take out all the things I don't need. Click on this, hit the backspace, click on anything I don't need and hit the backspace to take them out. Less is more. I right-click on these buttons and I hide all field buttons. I click on this and I take it out with the backspace. Okay, so I have my title. I'm just simply going to title this How People Would Like to Travel. Okay, how people would like to travel. Travel with family, travel alone, or travel with friends. Again, sometimes it's always good to have the percentage values. That gives you a more clearer perspective looking at the magnitude. Okay, so I'm going to right click on any of the numbers. I'll go to show value as percentage of grand total. Take out the decimal points, selecting everything, clicking on the home tab. Make sure you're on the home tab. Where you have decrease decimal, take out the decimal points so you can see the magnitude. So 42% would like to travel with family, 38% would like to travel alone, and 20% would like to travel with friends. So if you look at the number of people that will travel with friends and family, you have 62%, and they form the majority. We can add those numbers to the chart by right-clicking on any of the columns and clicking on Add Data Label. And you can see the numbers at the top. So if you're planning ahead of the future, you've seen two very important things. Number one is you know where your customers want to go. Number two is you know how they want to travel. And there are so many other things we can do with the data sets that we have. All right? So many other things we can do with the data sets, their type of activity, how they would like to be transported. Would they like to hire a car? Would they like to travel with the public transport, with the train, and so on and so forth? Okay, so you have that as well. And that's what the power of tools like Claude AI can help us do. We saw how it helped us summarize this PDF document, give us the summary of what we needed to do. And then we also attached another CSV file which had the data set of the customers that have indicated how they would like to travel, and then we made it available for Claude AI to give us insights into the type of questions. So what I would like you to do is when you set up your own Claude AI account, answer these questions. All right. What is the most popular month for travel based on the time of travel? Okay, now what Claude AI did for us is to give us SQL queries. You can see what you have here. These are SQL queries. And the reason why we have SQL is because the initial document we uploaded is a document that would require SQL queries to generate insights. So that's the reason why it picked it from that and gave us the queries we can use to generate those answers. Okay, so you see the select, from, group by, and so on and so forth. So this is how you get things done using tools that are available for you. One thing I would like to mention is the issue of data privacy. Data privacy. You don't take your company's data and upload it into a platform like this. Company's data is sensitive, and you want to be very careful when you work with company's data. One advice I'll give to you, if you have an analysis you want to do in the office, and I'll give you a very quick example of what you can do. So you have an analysis you want to do in the office, all right? And the data set you are working with, let's assume it has, you have account number, okay? You have account type. So let's assume you work in the bank, okay? Account type, you have channel. I'm just using this as an example. You have channel. Now, let's say account number is 0101 0111 010. Okay, so the last one should be 011 Okay, so let's say the last one is 0, 1, 1, 0. Let's assume this is what you have. Account type. Let's say this is, let's call this DOM. Let's call this savings. Let's call this checking, right? Channel, you have, let's say POS, let's say ATM, and let's say app. Now let's assume, of course, I just used arbitrary values, account numbers, and so on. You want to be careful to do what? Codify the data, transform this data into something else, and don't upload your company's data into these platforms because of data privacy issues. You need to be aware of that. So let's say account number, you're not going to use account number. So you take a sample of the data set and you change account number to something like maybe serial number. Okay, and this is me just, also changing account type. You could call it maybe CUS or whatever you want to call it, but you document how you have transformed. Channel, maybe you want to call this location. So you codify the data in a way that serial number equals account number, CUS equals account type, channel equals location, and you add fictitious values. And what you want to tell Claude AI is come up with questions I can ask these data sets to get insights from the data. So if it gives you questions based on the fictitious data that you have codified, you can then apply it to the original data set. Okay, so let's assume Claude AI tells you that find out the total number of customers that have utilized the POS location. The total number of customers that have utilized the POS location. Now, because you transformed this data from what is at the left to what is at the right, you know that what that means is find out the total number of account type that have utilized these particular channels. Okay, and these are some of the ways you address the data privacy issues. If you're working on personal case studies, data you've gotten online, you can use that, play around, upload it, just like I did today. We don't have any data that ties to a particular organization or tied to a particular individual, and you have to take data privacy issues very importantly. Don't add telephone numbers, don't add NI numbers, BVNs, and things like that, okay? So you have to be very careful with that. Can a data scientist work as a data analyst? Absolutely. Let me show you one last thing before I leave Claude AI. Okay, sir, I think I stopped sharing. Let's quickly look at something. One thing, I'll write one prompt, and with that, we leave Claude and we wrap up with our slides. So I'll simply tell Claude, please come up with Python codes to help me visualize the insights, you generated. Okay, so come up with Python codes to help me visualize the insights you generated. Insights, GH. Oh, sir, I think I wanted to delete, I hit enter, but I'm sure it would address this as a typo. Okay, so please come up with Python codes. So here are some Python codes, so you can see this. All right, so you see this code generated. All I need to do is I open up my Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab, copy the codes, paste them in there, and it will generate results for me. Okay, but we don't have time to do that. All right, so these tools gives you what you need to get the job done. However, if you don't have the knowledge, this would look like gibberish to you. And even if you get any errors, you would not know what to do eventually. So the knowledge of the language, the knowledge of the tool is very, very important before you can leverage tools like Claude AI to get answers and get results from them. Okay, so I'm going to stop here at this point. I'm going to, take a breather. We'll go back to our slides and try to complete the other aspects. You've seen just a little bit of how you can leverage tools like this. So you see somebody that does analysis in 5 minutes. You wonder, how did you come up with this? How did you create this dashboard in a very short period of time? And that's the beauty of these type of tools that exist today. Okay, so we're going to go back into our slide. As Vivi said, the next hackathon is in trouble. I was very worried when we held the last hackathon in 2023, around December. I was worried that a lot of people, and we saw it because we tested, we checked, and we saw that a lot of people used ChatGPT. Let me tell you something very interesting. Somebody copied the code. So you see this place that says, here is some sample Python codes to visualize. The person was so, let me not use a derogatory word, but the person was not smart enough not to copy these parts. So that person copied even this part that shows clearly that these codes came from a generative AI tool, copied everything from A to Z and pasted it. And of course, the moment we saw it, if you send a code to me and you add something that says, here is the sample Python code to visualize the key insights, I know that you have used a tool like ChatGPT or Claude AI. So that particular analysis did not make the cut. Okay, but I'll tell you for a fact that the line between expertise and intermediate knowledge is very thin. It's a very fine line because you have intermediate understanding of some tools. The line to cross over to expert level is very, very slim with the power and the capabilities of tools that exist like this today. Okay, so I'm going to take up, does this course help a fraud analyst? Bukola, I'll show you somebody who got a job as a fraud analyst. Thank you for asking the question. Bukola sent a direct message to me asking, does this course help a fraud analyst? Interestingly, we have a participant that completed our program and got a job as a fraud analyst in the UK. And I'm going to play his video for you. So Bukola, you get to listen and hear what he has to say. So before I move on, just type into the chat. If you enjoyed the session so far, just type in a yes into the chat before we go on. If you enjoyed the session, just type in a yes into the chat. But one thing I want you to do is to also go back and test it yourself. Okay, try it out and see how, if you can do the same or not. And I bet you'll do amazing work working on this. Okay, fantastic. Eric, Confidence, Syed, Enero, good to see you again. Good to see you. Enero has joined one of our sessions. Very educative, Oluremi. Okay, fantastic. Enero joined us in one of our clarity sessions. Okay, so now let's go into our slides. And before I go into any other thing, I want you to listen to the gentleman who got a job as a fraud analyst, because somebody asked me that question. His name is Oluwatosin. Oluwatosin completed our program and his interview preparation helped him get the job as a fraud analyst in the UK. Okay, so let's listen to Oluwatosin. What he does today is he helps his organization to do what? Prevent credit card frauds. So let's listen to him, and then I'll come back to start to wrap up our session. Okay, so I'm going to share. Let me reshare so you can hear the audio.
My name is
Sorry, I'll reshare so you can hear the sound. And listen to Oluwatosin. It's just a 41-second recording, but it's good for you to understand and hear from him. Okay, so sit back, relax. Bukola, listen carefully. Okay.
Hello, my name is Oluwatosin Ogunleye. With the August DA cohort with Analytics. I just got a job as a fraud analyst. So my role as a fraud analyst is to investigate and prevent fraud on credit cards. I got this job after I joined Analytics. The mentorship session the CB review sessions. These sessions were very, very helpful in me getting this role, and I had an interview prep as well. All these were highly instrumental in me getting the job, and I'm really grateful for Analytics. Thank you.
Okay, so you heard Oluwatosin. So I needed to show you that very quickly so I don't forget, because you asked the question, can this help me as a fraud analyst? So that's Oluwatosin. Today he works as a fraud analyst, and his role is to simply help his organization prevent credit card fraud. And how do you do that? It's simply to find a pattern of the different fraudulent transactions that have happened in the bank, and we categorize them based on certain factors. And if you can do that, it's easy to find out other transactions that are likely fraudulent. And that's why sometimes you execute a transaction, especially for those of you that convert maybe Naira to pounds or Naira to dollars. I bet you the day you convert a huge sum of amounts, maybe 10 million or 5 million, you try to convert it using maybe Lemfi or Pesa or any of these applications, they're going to flag it and send you an email to say that, tell us where this money came from, tell us the reason for this particular transaction. And that's simply because they have seen that there's a different trend, looking at the trend of how you've had transactions over the last maybe few months. You haven't had this volume in a very long time. So it triggers a response. It holds up that transaction until you're able to clarify. So those are some of the ways you can prevent those type of transactions from happening. And that's Oluwatosin, who got a job and is doing a fantastic job as a fraud analyst in the UK. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we also have somebody who's going to share her experience. Mide is on the call. All right, Mide has another session. Okay, so Mide has another session. So Mide wants to quickly speak to us. She recently got a job. She joined us in November last year. And between November and today, Mide was able to land a job as a data analyst. So I'm going to call upon Mide if Mide is still here. So Mohammed, please confirm that Mide is here. Mide, if you are here, you can turn on your video. I'm going to bring you up to speak, and let's get to hear from you. Okay, so how are you able to land a job? And tell us about your experience, essentially. So I've asked you to unmute yourself as well, Mide.
Hi, everyone. Sorry,
Hi, Mide. How are you today?
sorry, I have a cold. So my voice may be somehow. Yeah, I
Sorry,
think
before you go on, Mide, sorry to butt in. First of all, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from the UK.
Joining from
London.
the UK. All right, fantastic. So Mide, tell us about your experience, how you got the job, how instrumental Analytics was to you getting this role.
I'll say very instrumental, because for me, I don't have any experience in corporate at all, or any work experience, and that was my first ever interview, and I was able to get the job. And one thing that stands out for me in Analytics is the user support, or is the student support that we get, because even the session I had with Mohammed was on New Year. Even I was out. So when he's making time for me on the new year, I had to like create time. So I think that's what has been helpful. I'm still on my program. I'm not done, but they encouraged us to, apply and then say, okay, there's support. Even yesterday, I had to call him that, okay, I don't know some of these things, so I hope you'll be able to help me. And he got on a call almost immediately. He booked a session for me. I think that's very, very good. And then I feel like Analytics is very, very good. I saw Analytics on Eddie's. I just saw a video. I didn't know anybody that had gone there. So it was not a thing of maybe I heard feedback. I just saw a video of you talking on Eddie's page. And I'm like, yeah, I like what you are saying, because I need somebody that can hold my hands. If I'm learning on my own, I've bought courses on Udemy, I will not open it. But the Analytics is very, very good. Even sometimes when I don't join the class, somebody will text me and say, oh, I've noticed that you've not been joining for a while. I hope everything is okay. So the user support is very, very good, holding students. And so beyond what you're learning they cover every part. So if you're somebody like me, I'm sure that some of you have even worked before. Me, I've never worked before. So this is basically my first experience working, and my first ever interview. I got the job, and that's because of the support that Analytics gave me beyond even like just learning the data thing, which is also very, very good, because even from my CV, the interview was, it was it was conversational, because they could see that everything that I need to get done, everything that I need to know, I know it already. So there's no need to be, to be asking me so much questions. So Analytics is very good. I would definitely recommend Analytics to everyone and anyone that wants to attend.
All right, fantastic. So Mide, let me ask you one question before we let you go. So if you hear somebody say, "Oh, Mide, I don't think that data analytics jobs in the UK," what will you tell the person?
There are I don't know, maybe they're not looking right, and that's why they need to be where there's good support, so they can show them. Because I mean, there are even places that they've given us links to where we can apply, but I don't even, because I like soft life, so I don't stress. Even on LinkedIn alone, there's so many jobs. LinkedIn notifies me every day, at least like maybe like 10 notifications of vacancies every day, and with the kind of support that you get from Analytics, you will land one. It's straightforward. You will land one. I started my this thing in November, and this is just January.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you very much, Mide, for
Yes, thank you.
joining us today. When next I'm in London, I'll reach out to you.
All right, I'll be looking forward.
All right, Mide, thank you for taking
Yeah.
our time
All
to
right,
join us
thank you.
today.
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
fantastic. So you've heard Mide's experience. You've seen how Mide was able to transition and make the cut. So, and this is a typical example of how you can get started. Mide likes soft life. Everybody likes soft life. And that's why you have to leverage tools that help you live the soft life. One of the things we do in our mentorship session, and Mide would allude to that too, is how do you review your CV in a way that you tailor your CV to not just your previous years of experience, but also to the job you're applying to. And you leverage tools like ChatGPT, you leverage tools like JobScan, and so on and so forth. And that makes things a lot easier and faster for you. Because one of the reasons why people don't get jobs is they want to put out job applications, volumes, volumes, volumes. But it's not all about volumes. It's all about quality volumes. Because you always have to tailor every application to the job you're applying to. All right, you've heard from Mide, and it's a good thing Mide stopped by to share her experience with us. So I'll just move on. I'll try to wrap up the rest of the session. Now, what I want to show you before we leave, how was Mide able to join in November, get a job in January? She had Mohammed work with her, prepare her for her interview, and so on, the conversation she had, even on New Year's Day, when that was a public holiday. How was she able to get all of this? And how can you get the same? So as a data analyst, we've seen what a data analyst would do. Very clear. You take data and you convert it into insights. You help companies answer questions. So when Mide starts with that new company, she'll be helping them analyze their data. She's going to get data that looks like this, converts them into dashboards for insights that looks like this. So you see the analysis we were doing where we saw that, oh, Paris is the preferred destination, followed by the Maldives. You can take a quick decision based on this. So creating all those charts and putting them together, you get a dashboard like this. And you can see clearly that the month of December has the highest number of respondents that would say they want to travel in December. So if I'm planning the package for Paris and the Maldives, I would focus on the month of December because that's when a lot of people would love to travel. And this is your role as a data analyst. How can you become a data analyst? Just like Mide, who recently got a job. How can you do the same? The first thing you want to do is you want to understand how to solve problems. Problem solving. You're not going to jump to start doing analysis. All right. Your first data analytics class is not going to be similar to what you've done today. Okay. You would first of all understand problem solving. How do you, approach a problem? How do you define a problem? How do you get to the root cause of a problem using different techniques and tools? okay, using different techniques and tools. Mohammed is a superstar. Yeah, Shola said so. Mohammed is a superstar. Okay, Mohammed has worked with so many people, helping them make the transition. And I'll show you Mohammed's profile. SBB is saying, it seems that those who are getting roles are mostly outside the country. And that's because 95% of the people that register for our programs are outside the country. So SBB, you want to be part of the statistic that for the people that will get jobs in Nigeria, join the program. Okay, so you won't sit down and say, oh, somebody got a job in the UK. It's more difficult. I'll tell you for a fact. It is more difficult to get a job outside the country in the UK because you are competing with so many talented professionals from across the globe. All right, you're a global talent at this point in time. So SBB, the best thing you can do for yourself is get into the program, okay? And you would also be one of the people who we would say has gotten jobs from Nigeria. And I'll show you a couple of them that have also gotten jobs that you have on my slides. And they're from Nigeria. Some of them are working remotely, working for companies in the US, and they live in Nigeria, okay? So once you are done with problem solving, you learn Excel, Microsoft Excel. And I tell people this, except you get a very technical role, 70% of all the work you need to do would likely be on Excel. At least 70% would likely be on Excel. Excel is one of the most powerful tools. I remember when Efemena, the co-founder, visited Google in Ireland. He visited Google, and surprisingly, Google have Google Sheets, which is similar to Excel. But when he asked one of the analysts, what do you use for your analysis? The guy said he uses Excel for his analysis. And he was shocked at that point in time because this is Google. They have Google Sheets. You would expect that they are using one very complex tool for the analysis that they do. But he was using Excel to run analysis, working with Google. So the question is, why is Excel so underrated? And because Excel is so prevalent across different areas, you go to a company, you're likely going to find somebody who is an Excel guru. You can't become a data analyst without the understanding of Excel. It gives you the foundation, gives you the understanding and the entry into data analytics. And of course, SQL, Structured Query Language. That's the language of a database, language to interact with databases. You can't be in any data role without the understanding of SQL. All right, and then you move to Power BI. Power BI is where you do the magic of your data visualization, business intelligence, Tableau as well for data visualization and business intelligence. You learn data storytelling, how to tell a story using your data. Listening to Mide already, from the tone of her voice, the excitement, I can imagine Mide in an interview. All right, should wow any interviewer. And part of the reasons why you'd be confident in speaking is because when you tell a story using data, you get to make a presentation. And being in the program, you work together in groups, you work on group projects, and you present your findings. Tell me why we should take a decision based on what you have found. If you're not able to sell the story, nobody will buy what you're selling. Okay, and that's why data storytelling is very, very important. So for people who want to become data analysts, but they're not very confident in communicating, in presenting, you start to learn that from class. When you work on a project, you get to present. Work on a project, you get to present, and you build your confidence from there. Okay, you learn ChatGPT for analytics. Today we used Claude AI. You're going to learn ChatGPT. Prompt engineering, how to use very fantastic prompts to get results for your analysis eventually. And then Microsoft Fabric for data analytics. All right, so Microsoft Fabric is an all-in-one platform that has different aspects of the analytics value chain, from data analytics to data science to data engineering. You have it all in one. But what you'll be learning is the data analytics part of Microsoft Fabric. And how long does it take? You heard what Mide said, something very pertinent. She started in November. And in less than 2 months, she's gotten a job. Why is that possible? Somebody has asked me this question. I mean, they also mentioned it if you listened. We don't wait for you to complete the program before you start to apply to jobs. We're going to push you and tell you the moment you are done with Excel, start to apply to jobs. Don't wait until 4 months. Don't wait until you are done with your internship. Start applying. And that's why you'd also get to listen to one other fantastic lady who is on my slide, who got a job with the NHS, all right, as a benefits analyst. How did she get the job? She got the job 1 month into the program, because after 1 month, you are done with problem solving, you are done with Excel. You start to apply to jobs. You are done with your CV review. You start to apply to jobs. Okay, and that's how we push you, and we make ourselves available when you have that interview. We work with you to ensure that you go into that interview confident. Okay, the learning timeline is for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. So Mide is still in the program. She's not even done. She's not done her internship yet, but she's gotten a job. So for 3 months, you'd work on projects, solving problems, similar to the type of problems you'd solve in the real world. And for 1 month, you're going to work on an internship where you'd collaborate in a cross-functional team with different other individuals solving problems together. Okay? And the average salary of a data analyst in the UK is about £40,000. In Canada, about 64,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, about 72,000 US dollars. All right? And this is I would say, if you can take a screenshot of this and anybody asks you, how can I get into data analytics? Just show them this. Let me take out the inscription for those of you who would like to take a screenshot. This is what would get you there. All right? Project-based classes for 3 months, 1 month internship, problem solving, Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, ChatGPT for analytics, Microsoft Fabric. All right? But that's not everything that gets you the job. You listen carefully to Mide. I talked about it as well. Your CV is also very, very important, and I'll talk about that. And you don't just apply to jobs for a data analyst role because you have completed a data analyst training. No, there are data analyst roles. You'd see supply chain analysts, sales analysts, logistics analysts, product analysts. Tony got a job as a benefits analyst. You listened to the other gentleman who got a job as a fraud analyst. So there are numerous roles, and what you do is you look at the job requirements. Do I have the skills to apply to these jobs? And one of the things we tell you at Analytics is you can never have all the skills. Okay, so even if you see a job role out of maybe 6 tools that they want you to have, you have 4. Go ahead and apply. So they require 6 specific tools, but you have 4. Go ahead and apply. All right. Even the company does not expect that you'd have every single tool. And that's what you find generally. You won't find professionals, even me today. I don't understand all the technologies that exist. Okay, I don't understand all the technologies. If I want to get a job as a data engineer, for example, there are new technologies I might have to learn to add to my skill. And that's the way it works. Okay, but apply to jobs as long as you meet specific requirements. You don't need to meet all the requirements. If you meet 4 out of 6, please be my guest. Go ahead and apply. So it's a 4 months learning journey, immersive learning journey, 3 months project-based classes. Once you are done with your classes, you have your capstone project, and then you have your 1 month internship. Okay, and the classes are structured in a way that it doesn't matter where you are. Okay, you have classes for those in the UK, in Nigeria, in Europe, with similar time zones. You have your classes at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right, so this fits your schedule. On a Saturday, you have a live class, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, if you are somewhere in Canada, we modified the timing a little bit. So rather than having your classes the same time with those in the UK, which would be crazy because of the time difference, you have your own specific class, which is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Alberta Mountain Time, okay, which will be around 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West Africa time. Okay, so what that simply means is on a Saturday when you have your live class, you have a set of people who are from the same similar regions, or they want to work with that particular time in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then you have another session again in the evening for those who are within a specific region, or for anybody who would love to join that particular evening class from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., which is around 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Alberta Mountain Time. And on Sundays, you don't have a live class. You have something we call a self-paced watch me do it video. So it's a flexible way of learning. You don't come to class every single day. So it's a shift from what you are used to. Going to class, listening to lectures, and the lecturer leaves, you have to read, pass an exam, and so on. You don't have to do that. The best way an adult learns is using the andragogy approach, where you get to learn by doing. You practicalize things, you work on projects. It's a project-based class, all right? And this is what the journey looks like. It's a 4 months learning journey, okay? All right, so let's move on. Some of the projects you'd work on, fantastic projects. We're going to work on Castro Technologies, Nestle Product Analytics, online food delivery preferences, understanding customer preferences, budget versus actual for a particular company, fraudulent transactions. So for the person that talked about fraud and so on. So you're going to work on a fraudulent transaction case study where you would identify the fraudulent transactions within a particular organization and stop those transactions from happening. You'd work on employee attrition case study, helping IBM reduce their attrition, people leaving the company. You'd analyze data science salaries. You'd work on employees' time tracking to ensure that you reduce absenteeism. You'd work on Redux Airlines, a case study within the aviation sector, Legacies Group, Education for All, and so many other case studies. Employee analytics for Smith Corporations, a SQL case study on Prime Paper Company, where you'd help them analyze the data they have in a database, all right? Cinemax Studio Analytics, you help a particular studio in Hollywood address specific challenges that they have. And you'd also work on another SQL case study in a school where you'd perform students' analysis to find out the factors, students that are performing well, doing the analysis and presenting your findings, all right? And so many more projects you're going to work on, a total of 25 projects for the duration of 4 months that you go through the program. And you add these projects to your portfolio so you can sell yourself, you can talk about the things you've done out there and so on and so forth when you get into interviews, all right? Now, some of the reasons why people struggle to get jobs, I'll tell you very quickly, and I'll move very fast on this. The first one is you put the cart before the horse. I wish I could bring Mide back and ask Mide yourself. Mide, do you have a certification? Mide, did you have to write an exam? She's telling you categorically, she's never done this before. She joined in November and she's gotten a job. But a lot of people are bent on something we call the paper ceiling. They assume that there is a paper ceiling, and except I'm able to break through that paper ceiling, I cannot get a job. But companies are moving away from this. And in a space that is heavily practical and project-based, you need to show that you have the skills. Okay, you need to show that you have the skills. So rather than chasing paper, rather than chasing certifications that don't exist, focus on getting the skills. The skills would get you the job. All right. When we tell people this, I don't have one certification on data analytics, never in my entire 1 decade working as a data analyst. I've never sat for one exam because nobody would ask you. All right. You heard what Mide said. She had opportunities to interview. They'll give you a case study. She worked with Mohammed, they looked at the case study, and she came up with solutions and make presentations. A paper does not tell that you are the best person for the candidate. What you present, your project, the quality of the project you worked on is what will get you the job. All right. So always focus on competence. Competence over credentials. Remember this. Competence over what? Credentials. That should be your focus if you ever want to transition into the tech ecosystem. Once Mide has gotten, she starts this job. She works for about 6 months, 8 months. She can start applying to get to join another training program. Okay, maybe she comes for the data science program or for the data engineering to upskill and get to that next role, that next level. And that's the way you move. It's called job hopping. Job what? Hopping. And that's what gets you from 5 figures to 6 figures within a very short period of time. Okay, and these are the things that we've done, and we've also helped so many people do. And I'll share one particular story with you before we wrap up today. All right. So always remember, when it comes to tech, it's always competence over credential. You're going to remain in one spot for a very long time if you are chasing certificates and you are chasing paper. Chase the skills. Have a portfolio. If I ask you, you say, oh, I want to get a job as a data analyst, send me the link to your portfolio. Do you have a portfolio? Can I see what you've done? If I go to your LinkedIn profile, can I see proof of work that you've done these things before? You are a data analyst, not just on paper, but you are also a data analyst on LinkedIn. You have social proof. If you don't have all of this, a certificate doesn't get you anywhere. All right. So it's very important that you focus on the important things, which is get the skills, build a portfolio, apply to jobs, get the job, and you keep on learning. Learning is a lifelong process. Again, don't trivialize the job application process. Okay. Don't trivialize the job application process. Focus on quality, volume when applying. Don't be that person that would use one CV and apply to 150 jobs. You're not going to get any positive outcome. Because guess what? Every single job vacancy or job requirement wants to find specific type of people. So if you don't always tailor your CV, and these are some of the reasons why our participants have the best rates when it comes to response, positive response from companies, because you have a CV that attracts the recruiters. You have a CV that gets you into the room. And once you can get your leg into the room, there's a 50% chance that you get the job. So it's either you get it or you don't. And this is where you get to sell yourself. All right. So tailor, and that's where you see somebody like a Muhammad who would work with you even on New Year's Day when everybody else is chilling on holidays. You have somebody like a Muhammad that will prepare you for that interview so that you ace your way and get the job. So you must tailor your CV. You must do a job match before you apply to any job. All right. And lastly, you don't know how to sell yourself, or you don't know that interviewing is actually a sales pitch. You are the product and you are selling yourself to that company. So you're asked critical questions, but you really can't answer those questions simply because you don't know how to sell yourself. And this is where we teach you during your mentorship sessions, during your navigating the job market, how to interview, how to prepare. So apart from the one-on-one interview prep you have all these sessions that would show you techniques on how to answer, simple questions like, tell me about yourself. Answer a question like, how much would you like to earn? Okay, they ask that question, for example, how much are you looking at? Okay, how much do you want us to pay you? People would go ahead and give a figure, but you should know that you never give a figure when you're asked that question. So we put you through all these things so that you go into that room armed with the right type of skills and right type of answers to give to those recruiters eventually. You must learn how to sell yourself. Okay. So of course, I want you to listen to Tony I want you to listen to Tony and then we'll move on. All right. Olugbemi is the gentleman I was telling you. Olugbemi works in Canada. He moved from Nigeria to Canada, but his story is very interesting. Why? Olugbemi left Nigeria April 2022. All right. Completed his training with us, his internship, and he got his job, I think, sometime around September 2022. Okay, from April, September, he had gotten his first job with the Law Depot in Canada. All right, we worked with him, prepared him for his interview, his references, and so on. Now, between September and today, so September 2022 to September 2023, that's 1 year, right? 1 year. And from September till date, you have another 3 months. So between 1 year, 3 months, I can tell you categorically that Olugbemi's growth has moved. It is astronomical. And today, I can beat my chest and say that Olugbemi is one of the highest earners when it comes to data analysts working within an insurance company. Because as a data analyst working in Canada, earning 6 figures, that's the salaries of a data engineer. That's the salary of a cybersecurity analyst and so on. And how did he do that? Very simple. Stayed in the Law Depot for about a year and then made the switch. Started to apply to the job as a solutions analyst with one of the largest insurance companies in Canada. Okay, fantastic story. And that's where the job hopping comes. You don't stay in one company for so long. When you're moving to the next company, you use that company as a leverage to negotiate a better salary. And that's how you make the transition eventually. Okay, let's listen to Tony very quickly. Tony works with the NHS as a benefits analyst, full sponsorship, and she got her job just 1 month after training with us. 1 month. So it's a very short video, about 50 seconds thereabouts. Let's hear what Tony has to say.
Hello everyone, my name is Doreen and I recently got a job as a benefits analyst in the UK. I've come from a medical background as a pharmacist who is interested in, breaking into tech. My first encounter with analytics was on LinkedIn. I joined one of their masterclass, just one masterclass where Efemina spoke, and it just took that masterclass to convince me. I joined in August, and a month after, I got a job. To be honest with you, every information skill that I was able to apply to get that job, I owe it to Tenalytics. Tenalytics did a great job and is still doing a great job. They groom you and nurture you from the cradle till you become confident. So my advice for you, most importantly, is join. Be integrated into a platform that empowers you and allows you to easily get that first job.
Okay, so that's Oluwatoyin, another fantastic ambassador of Tenalytics, doing us proud in the NHS. And for anybody who gets a job with the NHS, you know that it comes with sponsorship. Somebody was asking me in the chat, how do you get a job with the NHS? You join Tenalytics. NHS has hired, I would say, the highest number. Okay, you have Tony, you have Ramat, you have Ikmat, you have Ebele, you have so many of them working with the NHS. You have Uthman, and the NHS simply is one of the largest recruiters you'd find out there. And that's why you have them hire our candidates. Olugbemi works in Canada, Edmonton, fantastic gentleman doing an amazing work. This is Ikmat. Ikmat, like I mentioned, also full visa sponsorship, also working with the NHS. You have Oluwatosin. You've listened to Oluwatosin already. You heard Tosin working as a fraud analyst. You have Abigail, who works in Edmonton, Canada. She moved from Saskatchewan when she got her job, and she currently works in Edmonton. You have Biola, who is also in the UK as well. You have Shade, who works as a data scientist in the UK. You have Patience, who also got a job as a data analyst working with us. And there are so many of them. Wenga's story is another phenomenal story from Poland. you need to listen to Benga's story. For 2 years, he was trying to get a job in Poland until he joined Analytics. He landed the role as a business data analyst, and he mentioned that that was the job of his dreams. Hybrid work, doesn't have to go to the office every day, and he does fantastic stuff. Listen to all the fantastic stories. I'm not going to bore you with some of the stories. And for the gentleman who was talking about people getting jobs in Nigeria, okay? Victor worked from Nigeria in Lagos, Nigeria, worked for a company in the US, in Chicago, Illinois, as a people operations analyst. Okay, so he worked remotely from Nigeria, working for a company in the US, earning in dollars, spending in Naira. You also have Solomon, who works as a financial analyst with Kegos Group in Nigeria. Okay, so we do have Nigerians that have gotten jobs. We can't put everybody on one slide. And what I'll advise you to do is go to our YouTube. You have all the videos in there. Go to YouTube, search for Analytics, listen to people's transitioning story and how they were able to do what you are trying to do. Okay, so our achievements last year in 2023, we did one of the most phenomenal work since we started operations in 2020. We are going into our 4th year in 2024. So our achievements last year was phenomenal. We helped over 850 people transition into the tech ecosystem from across the globe, from the UK, the US, Canada, Europe, Asia, Africa, and so on and so forth. All right. And like I said, you have all the evidence, both on the slides and also on our Instagram, on YouTube. You heard Mide. Funny enough, I didn't know Mide was coming on the call today. Somebody just sent me a message that we have Mide on the call and she would like to share her story. And that's the excitement that you get, knowing that I just made this investment 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and I'm already getting the benefits eventually. All right. So that's the beauty of getting into the space. And why should you train with us? One of the things you get to find out is up-to-date curriculum. So it's not your typical Udemy course that you have packed somewhere and you never get to watch. You'd be in a class with a facilitator, a trainer that would walk you through all the key aspects of what you need to know as a data analyst, as much as going in depth into ChatGPT, Microsoft Fabric. You'd never find that anywhere else. You'd work with the best experts, industry experts. Mohammed, it would be one of your trainers. You've heard a whole lot of people talk about Mohammed. Mohammed is the best. Mohammed is Mr. Fantastic, and so on and so forth. Mohammed would work with you to help you make that transition. You have an interview, would be available to walk you through. It's a blended learning approach where you don't just get to learn, you don't learn every day and get tired of learning because you have classes every single day. Your practical live classes are on Saturdays. And then you have something we call the Watch Me Do It videos, bite-sized videos that you receive every Sundays. You can watch at your own convenience whenever you're free. And for some people, they spread those videos over the week. So they watch on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they complete it before the next class the following Saturday. Additional employability services, and this is where we do our best work. Our interview preparation sessions, our CV sessions, just like Mide also mentioned, and the internship, where you get to simulate real-world experience, work on projects, collaborate with professionals from different other programs. Okay, so how we position you for success, just like the way we position Mide and every other person that I've gotten a job, is broken into 3 layers. The first layer is where you have your CV review sessions. You don't just apply to jobs because you have a CV. No, we show you how to tailor your CV. We show you how to do a job matching. We show you how to bring in your previous years of experience. So imagine you've always worked in education. You currently work as a mathematics teacher in a secondary school somewhere in Nigeria. How do you tailor that experience to data analytics? We'll show you how to do that. Okay, and that would give you the best outcomes at the end of the day when you apply to that job, because you're not going to present yourself as a newbie as a beginner, you probably have 10 years experience working in education, but because you are transitioning into data analytics, you tell them that you have just 3 months experience. Nobody will take you seriously. So we show you what you need to do to make the switch. Your LinkedIn optimization, we help you with that. Upwork optimization, so you can work on freelance projects across different regions, navigating the job market. What do you need to take note of? What type of formats of CVs you need to look out for? Where do you apply to jobs? They talked about the links that we provide, where to check those links, where to check for jobs using those links, and so on and so forth. We provide that for you. Prepare you for interviews. You have an interview after you've done your CV and all the other amazing stuff. Now you have an interview. How do you prepare for the interview? We work with you. And when you get the job, we also write a reference and recommendation letter to ensure it is signed, sealed, and delivered. All right. The level 2 is where we move to the weekly mentorship sessions. Every week, every Thursday evenings, you have a mentorship session where myself, the co-founder, Ifemena, we bring in other industry experts to work with you. You can ask your questions. You can talk about things that you probably cannot ask everybody else. You can ask those questions, and we are there to help you answer those questions because we've done it. You are trying to do it newly. So we show you don't make the same mistakes we made in the past. And that's where we come to share those experiences. And you can also ask key questions during those mentorship sessions and on-the-job support. Okay, you heard Mide say that, oh, I told Mohammed that if I have any problem, I'm going to come to you. And that's what we do. You get a job, you have a particular project that seems very difficult. We work with you to demystify it. Okay, and of course, also taking data privacy issues into concern. So we're not going to put you in a scenario whereby you compromise the integrity of the data, the privacy of your company's data. We work with you to ensure that doesn't happen, but we provide you with the right type of solutions to ensure that you also get the job done. That's level 2. Level 3 is what we are deploying in 2024, which is our promise to you. Guaranteed job interview 1 month after completing the program. So you join the data analytics, you complete the program after 4 months. On the 5th month, you must get an interview. You must get an interview. That's the promise from Tenalytics to you for those joining us in 2024. All right. So you heard Mide say, oh, I joined in November. By January, I've gotten a job. She hasn't completed her program. She's going to complete her program sometime in February, but she has gotten a job already. All right. But our promise to you is 1 month after completing the program, you get interviews. At the moment you have interviews, what happens? Your chances of getting a job starts to increase. Of course, I talked about the internship already. You get to add your internship to your CV. You work on real life projects and so on and so forth. And some of the things we are adding to the new program for 2024 that Mide did not even get to enjoy, and she's already excelling. Number 1 is the body mentorship. And what is the body mentorship? The body mentorship is where somebody like Mide, who has gotten a job, all right? Somebody like Mide who has gotten a job would come back to say, hey, Maruf, you want to also get a job in the UK. Where do you live? Oh, you also live in London. These are the things you need to take note of. She'll give you it the way it is, black and white, because she just recently got her own job, and we're bringing people like Mide back, our alumni who have done absolutely well in their own, respective fields. We bring them back to work with you as mentors. All right. So that's one thing we are doing. We are also enhancing the internship experience. And I talked about that, working with in a cross-functional team where you get to work with business analysts, HR analysts, solving problems together. And how do we guarantee how do we guarantee the interview 1 month after you complete your program? And those are the partnerships we are having with recruitment agencies across the globe. The UK, Canada, and in the US, in Nigeria, we're working with tech systems. Okay. In the UK, we're working with Hayes. In Canada, we are working with Robert Half. In the US, we are working with Kelly Services, Corn Ferry, and so on and so forth, helping bring the jobs closer to you. And how does it work? Very simple. Tenalytics forms a pool. So the moment you complete your program, you join this pool. Okay, you join this pool of what? Talents. And the recruitment agencies want to provide those talents to companies. All right, these are the agencies. They want to provide those talent to companies because one thing you find, organizations would contract these recruitment exercises to consultants. So they would go look for the talent, source the talent, and give the companies to interview. So rather than the agencies looking helter-skelter for talent, they come to Tenalytics, take our pool of talent, and give to the companies for them to interview and select the candidates that they want. And that's where you get to sell yourself. And these are the things we are doing in 2024. Our next cohort starts on the 3rd of February, each inching closer every single day. 3rd of February, the next cohort starts. And what does it take for you to be a part of the February cohort? Absolutely amazing, because we are running a fantastic discount for those who want to join, all right? You are paying in dollars. Rather than paying $750, you get to pay $600. So you have a whopping $150 as a discount. And this is opened to the first 20 people that registers for the program, all right? So from this masterclass, first 20 people to register for the data analytics gets to pay just $600 instead of the $750. And you can make your payment in 2 installments of $450 and $150. Okay, if you're paying in pounds, instead of paying £625, you get a discount of $125 and you get to pay just £500. You can also break it in 2 installments of $375 as your first payment. This gets you into the class. And then 1 month after, you get to pay £125. So you can imagine today how much Mide is going to earn. And because she's going to earn a lot, how much would she classify as £500? Okay, I don't know Mide's salary, but I can tell you for a fact that her 1 month salary is definitely going to be ×5, ×6, possibly ×10 of this particular amount. Okay, and that's the beauty of you investing in yourself. And if you're paying in Naira, instead of paying 900, you get to pay 720. You have 180,000 Naira discount. And you can make your payment in 2 installments of 540 and 180,000 1 month after the program commences. How do you become one of the first 20 people to register? For those that started their journey in January, on the 6th of January, let me tell you what happened. We currently have, in data analytics, we have over 50, well over 50. I don't have the numbers at the top of my head, but let me tell you, let's use 50 as an arbitrary figure. Is more than 50 participants, all right? Out of the entire numbers that registered, only 20 got the discount. The other people that paid after got to pay the full amount. And that's why we always tell people, and they come back to us to say, hey, Adeza, can you make the discount available to me? But we made it available right from the beginning of the month until the program started. So you want to take advantage of the discount. This is the best time for you to get in. And how do you make payments? All you have to do is click on the link, which will be shared with everybody. All right. It takes you to the enrollment page. And from the enrollment page, you can get access to the brochure. Okay. Get access to all the program brochures. And if you scroll down, you would see where you can do a direct transfer to our pound account if you want to make payments in pounds. But you want to make payments in dollars, for example, you are in the US, all you have to do is, you see where you have data analytics, business analysis, and so on, because they have the same amounts. They are grouped together in the same category. You want to make the full payment, all you have to do is click on this link, full payment, and it takes you to where you can make your payments. Okay, now because my region is the UK, you would see my own currency in pounds. And I'll show you that shortly when this comes up. Okay, so you want to make the full payment, you can do that easily using the links my colleague would share with you. So let's wait for it to come up and I'll show you how you can go ahead and make payments using the platform. All right. Okay, so all you have to do, yes, the fee in pounds is £500, but like I always tell people, because of the exchange rates, it's lower than even 500. So you pay today, for example, you get to save an additional £2 and pay £4.98. So if you want to make the full payment, you just make the payment of £4.98, click on reserve a seat. It takes you to where you enter your email, all right, enter your full name, enter your phone number, click on proceed. The moment you enter your card details, your credit card, your debit card, and you make payments, you receive an automated email into the email you provided while filling this particular page. Now, you want to make part payments. I don't have £500 or £498 to pay today. I want to make a part payment, all right? So all I'll do is I'll come to first part payment, click on the link, and it takes me into where I can make my part payments. And with the parts payments, there is a minimum you can pay. And I would explain what the minimum is. Now, if you look at the fees I shared on my slide, the minimum is £207.5. But what does this mean? It simply means that if I don't have £375 to pay today, because that's the first payment you need to make if you're paying in pounds, for example. If I don't have £375, it means that I can pay something like maybe £250 today and secure my discount. And before the program starts on the 3rd of February, you pay the balance of £125 to complete the £375 for the first payment. You start the program, you complete the program for a month, and after a month, you get to pay the balance of £125 as your second payment, and you get into the class. You complete every aspect of the class, your CV, your LinkedIn, and every other thing that the class entails. So rather than if, for example, I don't have £375, all I'll do, I want to pay £250 today. I come here, I take out this amount, and I enter £250. As long as the amount you enter is more than the minimum of 207.5, you're good to go. You secure your discount, you secure your slots. So ensure that you secure your slot for the discounted amount. All right, click on reserve a seat. Enter your email as usual, your full name, send in your payment. And of course, if you want to pay in Naira, 2 options you can take. The first one is to pay with your card using Paystack. All right, you can pay using Paystack using your card. You click on this link, it takes you to where you can select the full payment or part payment. Okay, so it brings me to the Paystack platform. I scroll all the way to data analytics, click on that, and I can select either full payment or I can select part payment. Okay, now also the part payment is 540, correct? But I don't have 540 today. I want to pay 300,000 to secure my slot. So I know that my discount is secured and I don't have to come back tomorrow to beg for the discount to be made available to me. All you can do is you can make your payment using a direct transfer. Okay, so if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'd see the Fidelity Bank account and you can make a direct transfer. Now, once you do a direct transfer, very simple, take a screenshot. Just like you'd have received the receipts if you paid using Paystack or paid using Mainstack for your pound or your dollar payments. Once you take a screenshot after making payments, maybe using the direct transfer, for example, scroll all the way to the top of this enrollment page, all right? And click on upload your receipts. Upload your receipts. And this is where you enter your details, your email, the type of payments. And by the time you are done submitting, you'd see where to upload your receipts, number 1. Number 2, you want to have further conversations with myself. with a Femina or any other professional within Analytics. For example, Adeza, I'm torn between data analytics and data science. I don't know which one to choose. Can I have a conversation with you? Absolutely. We have something we call the clarity sessions every Tuesday. You come onto that session with other people that have similar questions, and then we take your questions and we walk you through what we think would be appropriate for you, and you can take a decision from there. But the most important thing is before you get into that session, try to make your payments so that you don't get into the session, you get the answers you want. You make a decision, but then the discount is no longer available. All right? So make your payments. If you need to speak with a professional, when you're filling this form, you would see the option that says select your program. So rather than selecting a program, you see the option that says speak with a professional. Okay? So if I click on next, maybe I should just show you very quickly. Click on next, fill all the form, click on next, fill, select, yes, I've read the terms and conditions, click on next. When did you make payments? Upload your screenshot of payments. What's your mode of payments? NGN transfer, click on next. Okay, click on next, you keep on filling, and then you'd see which program did you register for? And this is where, rather than selecting maybe data analytics, but you're not sure, you've made payments, select the option that I need to speak with a professional. And on a Tuesday, we're going to schedule a session with you, sit down with you, help you answer those questions, and you can select the right program for yourself, okay? And one last thing, you can also, if, for example, your February is already booked, and you have commitments for February. So you can't start in February, but you want to get the discounts because we've had so many people, especially in December, they came crying, oh, Adeza, please, this and that. I want the discounts available. Can you make it? We made concessions for some people, but unfortunately for a whole lot, we could not make the same concessions, all right? So you want to start in March and not February, but enjoy the discounts. How do you do that? So when you see the question that says, what cohorts do you want to start, or what cohorts do you want to join? You have the option to start on the 3rd of February, which is the next available cohort, or you can defer to the 2nd of March. So what this does for you is you secure the discount, first of all, and then you defer your program to March. So you start in March. We have people that paid since December. They couldn't start in January, and they'll be starting their program on the 3rd of February. So you can also enjoy the same opportunity and join the program eventually. All right, I'm going to take questions before we call it a day. It's been a long day. Please, can I swap the payments I made for Scrum Master for this? Yes, you can, Buchi. Yes, you can. So all you need to do, Buchi, is just send us a message. Okay, send us a message on our WhatsApp, and I'll show you. Let me go there very quickly, Buchi. All you need to do, Buchi, is send us a message on any of these numbers, or send us an email to enquiries@analytics.io. If you've been interacting with Elijah, send Elijah a message, or just send a message, a WhatsApp message to any of these numbers, and somebody would address that for you. But I'm also going to take your detail, Buchi. But yes, you can swap. As long as your program has not started, you can swap. Okay? As long as you've not started, yes, you can swap. And even if you've started, you have the option of swapping after 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, you can swap. All right, but anything after 2 weeks, you can't swap anymore. Okay, so Buchi, if you could just send us a message, somebody would reach out to you and help you organize that. Mohammed is asking, can we chat privately? Mohammed, I'm not sure exactly what you want to chat or what you want to chat about. Okay. What I can do, Mohammed, is I'll tell you to join us for the clarity session on Tuesday. If you can, join us and we can have a one-on-one conversation, or just send a message to any of these numbers and somebody would respond to you to answer any questions or any question that you have, okay? If you need the recording, make sure you fill the form, Kelechi, and you will receive the recording, all right? I would love to take questions from you for those that have questions. And I have Favor. Favor's hand is up. So I'll take Favor's question first of all, and then I'll go to the platform to show you what the platform looks like, especially for those that just started in January, all right? Those that started earlier, maybe in November. So I'm going to show you Miday's class. The class Miday joined that has enabled her to get the job. I'll show you Miday's class, and you'll also get to see what the January guys are doing. For those that started on the 6th of January, they've already achieved a whole lot. All right, so let's go to the classroom. Let's go to Miday's classroom first of all, and you see the beauty of how you learn with us, okay? So this is Miday's classroom. You can see Data Analytics EU cohort 23, which is 2023, 11, which is November. All right, you heard when Miday said she joined us in November. So I'd open up this classroom and let's see what Miday has done so far to get her that job, okay? So when you register with us and you join the program, we confirm your payments, you get to join our classroom before the program starts, okay? And the classroom is where you have all your materials, everything that you've done during the program, you have them in your classroom, your data sets, your class recordings. So if for any reason you miss a class, maybe on a Saturday, you had an emergency, you couldn't join class, all you have to do is come to this platform and you have access to all the materials. And you can see the very first thing you see when you come into your class is what? Book an interview prep session. Book an interview prep session. Now let's go to the number of people in this class. I click on people. How many people do you see here? 88. How many people took advantage of the discount? 20. And that's the difference. 88 people, only 20 people took advantage of the discount. The other 68 had to pay the full amount. All right. And that's where we advise people, don't wait until the discounted slots are gone. All right. Register as early as you can. Take advantage of the discounts so that you get to join amazing professionals transitioning. So let's go to the very beginning and let's see what Miday did in class before she was able to get this job. Of course, the very first thing you do, like I mentioned, is problem solving. That's your very first class. All right. So this is the problem solving class. You have the class slides, which was taken by Mohammed. Let's see Mohammed. Mr. Fantastic. That's what Mohammed's participants call him, Mr. Fantastic. So you get to see Mohammed. That's Mohammed. He's a senior data associate at Analytics and has helped so many people transition. He's worked with Alfa Romeo in the US, working in their supply chain team, and he's helped about 2,000 people transition into data analytics. So the very first thing you'd learn, you start your class with what? What is data? So you're not jumping into very technical stuff. And that's why we tell people that it is built for the beginner and also designed with the beginner in mind. All right. So you have all of this. What is data, types of data, what is data analytics? And that's how you start your class with problem solving. And if you ever miss this class, you have a recording to make up for that. So you have the class recording, come here, watch the recording, go through the slides. And if you have questions, you'll be part of a group, WhatsApp group, where you have your trainer, Mohammed, you have a data coach, and then you have other professionals that will work with you to ensure that you have that problem addressed, okay? You move on to Excel, you have your mentorship session, you have your first Excel live class, and let's look at the projects they worked on, okay? So I'll click on the slide for the Excel, the very first project you'd work on Excel, okay? So you have 3 case studies, case study 1, case study 2, case study 3, and those are the 3 case studies you're going to work on, all right? And what does this do for you? It helps you build that mindset of a project-based mentality. So you're not doing things in abstract. You're actually working on projects, real world projects, okay? And of course, you have something we call drop-in sessions. Your drop-in sessions are sessions where you have problems in class. Maybe you missed a class, you watched the recording, you didn't get all the things. Out of 10 things that were taught in class, you got just 8. There are 3 areas where you have problems. The drop-in sessions are organized during the week in the evenings, where you have the opportunity to join and you meet your facilitator or you meet a data coach that would help you address those areas of concern. All right. So of course, Excel class 2, CV review session. You have Excel class 3, watch me do it, LinkedIn optimization session. And of course, you have your Excel presentation. I talked about the presentation earlier. And this is where you work together in groups, complete the project, and come to present. Okay. Mentorship session, the SEAT and the STAR approach. SEAT is for introducing yourself. The STAR approach is for competency-based questions. So when I ask questions like, tell me about a time you use Power BI to solve a problem, that is competency-based. You need to know how to tell the story, and you do that using an approach called the STAR approach. Situation for S, T for task, A for actions, and R for results. The SEAT approach is for introduction, introducing yourself. S for skills, E for experience, A for achievement, and T for traits or type of person. So you learn how to use these frameworks to, address yourself during interviews. So you see the mentorship session, what recruiters want, and this is middays class. So where are they at the moment? You set up a developer account for your Power BI. And of course, they are currently in their SQL class, SQL, and they're having their SQL class 3, watch me do it videos. So they haven't even completed their program, all right? They haven't completed. After SQL, they still have Tableau. After Tableau, you still have Microsoft Fabric. So they're not done, but she's gotten a job already. So this is what the classroom looks like. And of course, you learn with an amazing community. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause and take questions. Take a pause and take questions. When did you pay, Kelechi? I've paid 350K, uploaded my receipt, haven't gotten any response. So when did you pay? That's the question. Okay, when did you pay? As soon as we confirm your payment, don't fret. Okay, as soon as we confirm your payment, you'll receive an email confirmation. All right, you'd receive an email confirmation. Okay, so let me see if I have more questions. So Kelechi, just let us know. Let me know when you paid. If it's something you've done over a week and you haven't gotten a confirmation, then we need to look into that. Let me see more questions. I'm not able to book a session with a professional. I've made part payment. However, I'm not able to book a session. So Loretta, what you should do when you get into this form is very simple. 2 things you can do, Loretta. Send us a message. If it's a technical issue, you can't access the form, send us a message to any of these numbers. Okay, to any of these numbers you see on my screen. Any of these numbers, send us a message. Somebody would organize that for you. They are there to solve your problems, okay? Or send us an email to enquiries@analytics.io and somebody would respond to you, all right? Somebody would respond to you. The data science is exactly the same amount as the data analytics. Exact same amounts as data analytics. So let's take questions. Let's take questions before we wrap it up today. Okay, Favor's hand has been up. I apologize, Favor. I almost forgot. Please go ahead with your question, Favor.
Okay, hello, good evening. Thank you so much for the class.
It's a pleasure.
I think that we have learned so much.
Yeah.
My question is this. I just signed up for Claude AI. I tried to I tried to attach a document on CBS, but it comes with an error message. So I don't know why that happened. Error message is that message is 177% over the length limit. So I want to ask, does it has a length limit that the data must be before you can attach?
Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Yes, it does, Favor. So remember,
So
it's the
how
free
can I
version.
overcome it?
You have to pay if you want to overcome. So
Oh, wow.
it's, for example, you are in this session for free, for example, Favor, right?
Yeah.
But you want to get all the benefits, you'll make payments to join. Do you get my point? So Claude AI will give you free access, but of course there's a limit to how much you can do. And if you want to upload 250, I've uploaded 250 megabytes of data to ChatGPT, and it did my analysis for me without any issues. And you can do the same using Claude AI, but you need to make payments if you have a very large data set. So there's a limit. I'm not sure of the exact number of records, but I know there is a limit that Claude AI would take depending on the size of the data. All right?
My data set is 521 kilobytes.
It would likely tell you the records, okay, the number of records it can take. And if it goes beyond that, it's not going to take up, and it will tell you that you need to reduce the size of the data and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. For ChatGPT, you can't even upload any documents if you don't have the pro version. So because I have the pro version of ChatGPT, I can upload documents anytime I want. So if I open up my ChatGPT, the paid ChatGPT, you get to see ChatGPT 4. The unpaid is 3.5. All right, so I can switch in between 3.5 or 4. 4 is the paid, and 4, I bet you, is absolutely phenomenal. So if I change it to 3.5, you don't see that icon to attach. 3.5 is what anybody can sign up to, but 4 is free. And the moment I switch to 4, you can see that icon to attach a document. Okay, so that's the same thing Claude is doing. The difference is Claude AI would allow you attach files even without paying. However, you can't then go ahead to attach very large files. There's a limit to the size and the records you can upload on Claude AI. But for those who haven't used GPT-4, if you really can, I would advise that you do. You can build your own. You have a data analysis bit where you can drop any file and it is absolutely phenomenal. I'm telling you for a fact. If this was available 10 years ago when I was transitioning, I don't know what I'd have turned into something else. So for those transitioning into tech today, you don't know how lucky you are, all right? Because you are learning a skill and you have tools that would help you project those skills. So it's like you being an intermediate. I said it the other time. The line between intermediate and expert is it has been reduced into a very fine line, very thin line with tools like ChatGPT. I can upload a document and I would create a fully fledged machine learning model, build a neural network, and ChatGPT does everything for me. And I'm not telling you this by assumption. I've done it. Okay, I've built models. I've compared more than 5 different models, and one of them was a neural network, was a deep learning model. Okay, and that's the beauty of having tools like this today. All right, and I can tell you, you do it in a way that no system on earth would detect that it was done by ChatGPT. All right, so I mean, of course, there are guidelines and principles to using ChatGPT. Of course, if I ever have to tell you, I'll let you know that You don't even take everything ChatGPT gives you hook, line, and sinker, because ChatGPT makes mistakes. I'll tell you that for free. It makes errors sometimes, right? Not very often. The errors it makes are very, very interesting errors. And I'll tell you, let me give you an example. Sometimes you ask ChatGPT that, who wrote the book called How to Be as Awesome as Adeza? Okay, that book does not exist. But if you ask ChatGPT that type of question, I'm giving you just a scenario of how ChatGPT can make mistakes. ChatGPT would form links and tell you that, oh, the book How to Be Awesome Like Adeza was written by Adeza something, to create a name, even create a link. If you want to learn more, click on this link. But you then get to find out that you click on the link and you see that the link doesn't exist and nothing like that actually exists, and it was made up by ChatGPT. So these things happen. And that's why for you to take anything ChatGPT does, especially if it's analysis, that is very, that would, I would say, have consequences, you want to validate. And that's why you can't use tools like ChatGPT if you don't already have the experience. You don't already have the skills. You must have the skills, understand how these tools work, and that makes it easy for you. Okay? For individuals with a creative background spanning decades, how easy is it? That would do. I have evidence for everybody. And when I tell you that, you don't need any experience. I'm telling you that not because of that's what I think, is because of the kind of people we've helped. Okay? And let me show you somebody who is a fashion designer, who is a creative, that joined our data analytics program. Like Femena would say, evidence day. Okay, we have numerous evidence, and I'll show you. You listen to him yourself. Don't take my word for it. All right. I'm just going to go there very quickly. You listen to him. A fashion designer, he transitioned into tech. Okay, and that's him. I'm going to click on this, and I want you to just sit back, relax, and listen to Akintola. Okay.
My name is Akintola.
Sorry.
David. I'm a fashion designer, and during my program at Analytics, I took data analytics.
Sorry, let me rewind it. I'm not sure you heard when he said I'm a fashion designer, so let me take it back and just listen.
My name is Akintola David. I'm a fashion designer, and during my program at Analytics, I took data analytics. I have a friend in UK that we talk a lot. She sent me a link to the analytics program. Oh, they are actually. I remember when we started then. It reminded me of back in computer school days, where we had to do Excel, Microsoft Word, and all of that. So it literally took me back then. So I started understanding some things that I neglected then. So it was very, very user-friendly. When we started the program first, the foundation period actually helped me in my business, because it taught me about how to, it took me back in university when we had to do what is important first. People think tech, the word in quotes, tech, it sounds, technology sounds like, she have it done. So I just tell the person, just do it while you can. I mean, before I did it, I always thought it was a big issue. So I'll tell the person to just do it. I mean, you never can say, if you don't do it, you don't do it. If you do it, you do it. I say 9 over 10.
Okay, why?
The remaining one is for God.
So that's Akintola. He gave us the opportunity to still improve. Of course, anybody who is 10 over 10 means there is no improvement anymore. So I hope that answers your question, Dawudu, because like Dawudu said, as a creative, can I transition? That's Akintola. Akintola is a fashion designer, and you heard him say that as well. Opeyemi is saying, true, I have made errors following ChatGPT for my schoolwork. I learned to double check. Absolutely, Opeyemi, you must double check every single time. Please, did you get my message regarding the amount? I'm not sure I got your message, Opeyemi. It means that ChatGPT can tell lies. Yes, it can tell lies. It lies sometimes. I've seen it happen. Okay. And one of the things that if you're in a master's program, for example, in the UK, in the US, plagiarism is a big, big issue. Using tools like ChatGPT and not referencing it is a big, big issue. All right. So you don't want to do an assignment and you make the mistake of allowing them finding out that it was ChatGPT. You are in big trouble. You're likely going to fail that program, or you do your project again. All right. I know so many people that faced disciplinary teams and committees because they had plagiarism issues. What's the time for the meeting on Tuesday? So we have two timing depending, Bukola. So we have one time for 11. I beg your pardon, not 11. So one is from 2 p.m. Okay, on Tuesday. So if you can join us at 2 p.m., fine. If you can't join at 2 p.m., we have a second session for 11 p.m. Right? One session at 2, another at 11. But let's assume you can't even meet any of this timing. Maybe at 2 p.m. you're in the office. At 11 p.m. you are tired. You've gone to bed. Send us an email. Okay, just send us an email. Enquiries@analytics.io. We'll schedule you for something and help you address those questions. Okay, so it's not a problem. We are here for you. Okay, we are here for you. Opeyemi, I'm not sure I saw your message. You might want to send it again. Okay, you might want to send it again. Okay, what's your question, Maruf? Maruf is saying I'm not getting answers to my requests. It will be sent to everybody that joined and you fill the attendance. Okay, it will be sent to you. All right, what's the oldest participants you have? We had somebody that was 60 that joined our program, 60 years old. He was retired in the US and he wanted to go into consulting. I wanted to add tech as one of his services. So he joined our program and he was 60 years. We've had somebody who was 50 something plus. And interestingly, these are the people that don't miss classes. They are very upright. The elderly, and they want to do everything. Okay. So age is not a limitation, especially if you are in one of the major economies. Age is never a limitation. Nobody would tell you that you need to be 25 to apply, or you need to be between this particular age to get a job. You'd never see that happen anywhere in any of the major economies. There is none. Is there a limit in a class? Yes, we have a limit in a class now. We didn't used to have that before, but now we do have a limit. And the moment we get to 50, we close that class. Once we have 50, we close the class. Okay, Opeyemi is saying, I was asking the possibility of looking into the payment amount. I had whatever couldn't. Unfortunately, Opeyemi, a lot of people said the fees changed drastically. It didn't. Okay, and let me give you a typical example now. Calculate 500 pounds, convert it to Naira. And let me give you the rate of the pound to the Naira today. The rate is 1,630. 1 pound equals 1,630. If you multiply that by 500, it is far above 720. All right. But what we've done, we try to not put the burden on you. Initially, we had a price freeze. When the pound to the Naira was getting ridiculous, we did not change our fees. We left the Naira because of our Nigerian customers who would love to join. But unfortunately, we couldn't still maintain the same rates because it made no sense anymore. And today, the rate is about 1,630. And if you do the math, you multiply that by 500, you'd see that it is far above 720. And I'll do it for you very quickly. 500 times 1,630 equals 815,000. Okay, so the fees did not change. drastically. The Naira took a dive, and that's why it seems like the Naira value is all over the place, but it's really not our fault. It's simply the exchange rate. The rate today, if we did a direct conversion, is at 815,000. Okay, and then you have it at a discount of 720. We did not change that. So I think that's the best time. It's the best time for you to get in. Even the airlines, if you watch the news in Nigeria, the airlines are crying. Everybody's crying. Procter & Gamble left Nigeria. They can't produce anymore simply because of the Forex challenges. Okay, so it's a general challenge. The Naira has taken a nosedive, and it is absolutely ridiculous. So if you want to ever get into tech, earn fantastic amounts that you can earn in dollars, you can earn in euros, you can work for companies outside Nigeria, this is the best time to start. I'll tell you for a fact. You earn $100 per hour, or you earn $85 per hour. You convert that to Naira, you'll be making a whole lot of money. What app do we use for exchange? Our exchange rate is not gotten from an app. The app today in LemFi is over 1,630. Okay, so it doesn't matter. You can use any app you want to use. We don't use the app to do the rating. If we use the app for our exchange rates, nobody will be able to pay the fees because the apps gives you ridiculous rates. Even LemFi's rate is ridiculous. Okay, what is the last day for February intake? 1 week before the program starts. So 1 week before the program starts, we end registrations. Right? 1 week before the program, we end registrations. But the discount ends the moment we have 20 people who have made payment for that particular program. Okay, so I'm not sure we have more questions. No, there's no chance, Faithfulness. There is no chance at all. That will do. Your feedback is taken. Okay, your feedback is taken. What can be done for those who are currently unemployed? I always tell people, you need to need to look at the cost benefits. What's the cost benefit for you? If I invest this amount of money, I tell you for a fact, this is money that people invest in other things that they count as useful or valuable to them. Invest this amount, okay? And then you have the rewards to enjoy. All right. So if you're underemployed today, it's either you want to stay underemployed or you want to change that situation. And for me, I'll change the situation if I were you, SBB. Okay, I'll change the situation. No, there's no discount in March. We don't have anything planned for March. All right. If ChatGPT can do the work, then what is the need of the data analyst? Fantastic question, Faithfulness. ChatGPT cannot do the work on its own. Okay, and let me give you a typical example. Now you want to carry out analysis, and I give you ChatGPT. Faithfulness, take this data set, take ChatGPT. Tell me, can you come up with a top-notch analysis from that data set? It's a big no. And the best combination, so AI would not take anybody's job. AI would not do the work that people are meant to do, but AI would make you a whole lot better. You could be an intermediate in the use of any of these tools, but with the addition of AI, you become a superstar. And that's what AI is meant to achieve. All right. And I'll give you a very typical, a real life story of somebody who works with one of the largest data consulting companies in the UK. He's a Nigerian, interestingly. He's the head of the department within that company. And he mentioned categorically that when he's hiring people, he looks out for people that are good with ChatGPT. Do you know why? Because he knows that as long as you understand the tool, you understand the techniques, the fundamentals, the foundation, if you add ChatGPT to that, your skills would grow exponentially. All right. But Faithfulness, who doesn't have the skills, I give you ChatGPT, I give you the data set. You can't do it, you can't do much with it. So you tell ChatGPT, do the analysis. It will do it and give you codes. It will do it and give you results. But how do you know what is correct or what is wrong? I just told you the other time, ChatGPT makes mistakes, big mistakes. It will give you code sometimes, you run the codes and you get errors. You have to troubleshoot and solve those errors. And I tell you, it's not funny if you don't know what to do. All right. So it is a synergy between AI and humans. It's not one taking the other one's job. I don't know if I helped to answer that question, Faithfulness. Okay, so I'm going to call it a day because of time. I'm not going to keep you here all day. But what I would advise everybody is, you have a friend, you have a colleague, you have a brother, you have a sister that you think can benefit from a program like this. Share the message with them. Let them know that they can join a program like this, all right? Follow us across all our platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Listen to all the fantastic stories. Daudo would have not known that somebody who is a creative, just like him, a fashion designer, joined our data analytics program and got value. And you can also do the same. So go listen to those people's stories, hear how they transitioned and how they were able to get the best out of the program itself. We're going to have so many sessions where we'll bring so many things to you, and you get to enjoy, different areas within the tech ecosystem. You learn one or two things, and you're going to learn that for free. Because for us, our mission is to bring in as many people as possible into the tech ecosystem, providing you with the right and the best skills that will get you those jobs at the end of the day. All right. So until we meet in another session, or I meet you in class on the 3rd of February or 2nd of March, or you join us for the clarity session, have a wonderful weekend. And I hope you've learned something. You've had a good time staying with us this evening on a Saturday. Have a wonderful Sunday ahead of you. And cheers, everybody. You're welcome, Daudu. And thank you for that question. All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Cheers, guys.